Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the 309th edition of the Boxing Asylum Nuthouse podcast. I'm your host, Steve Wellings, and joining me on the call, we have Andy Patterson, Dave the Hater Lowback, and Gabe Lewis. We'll be bringing in a guest very shortly. Just before we do so, Andy, let's get stuck into a bit of Tank Davis, shall we? He's hanging around with Brona. He's got Floyd Mayweather in the locker room. What can possibly go wrong for this young man? Outside of the ring, things might be a mess, but inside of the ring, when he's putting against the likes of Hugo Ruiz, he's able to get the job done and pretty damn quickly as well.
Yeah, give him credit for it. I know it's a kind of late notice fight and stuff. It's really a shame what happened with Mares. Detached retina. He needed surgery, obviously, and that. So, instead with Ruiz, obviously he had that good win. Obviously, a couple of weeks back and stuff. So he was in good fighting shape. Probably had to maybe shave a couple of pounds that to make weight. But he had nothing. He really had nothing to offer against Davis. He just basically kind of stepped in there, let his hands go. And it was just in the end far too easy. Good right hook is. I've got to agree with what Brunner said at ringside as well. It's just far too easy for him. So again, hopefully he's going to be active this year. He has made.
They had Broner ringside, and they asked him for analysis.
No, you could see him talking. Actually, he was. I don't know if it was Davis's mum or whatever it was. He was sitting there with some woman anyway. You could just see him mouthing, far too easy, which it was.
Okay. Well, I mean, he said the same thing about him against Pacquiao, so I don't know about his chops as an analyst.
Probably, but no, as I say, Davis has now talked about it. Well, he has been talking about he's wanting to remain active 3 times this year, so at least fighting. So hopefully see him back out again because we need to see him active, and hopefully he lives up to the hype. We need to see him in with these big fighters now. So numbers not numbers for him.
Brilliant stuff, Andy. Thank you. We've got our first guest of the evening on the call. Delighted to be joined by Robbie Chapman. How are you, Robbie?
Hello, mate. Yeah, not bad, thanks. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you for joining us on this Sunday evening. Robbie's 3-0, everybody, 25 years of age. You've got a fight coming up there, Robbie, against William Warburton. How's the preparation coming along?
Yeah, it's going good, mate. Training 6 days a week, twice a day, 6 days a week. We're in the sparring phase now of training camp, which is the fun bit, really. I'm sparring twice a week, so yeah, it's all going good, mate.
Who are you training with and who they're getting you sparring at the moment, Robbie?
So I train at IQ Boxing, which is in Neasden. My coach is Xavier Miller. And so far, I've sparred people from my gym. So we've got obviously a few pros down there. But sometimes we go out of our gym for sparring. My coach said next week I'm going to go to a new out of our gym. So not sure who I've got next week, but someone.
Yeah, they'll obviously stick you in somebody decent. But you've got 3 wins on the board, all in 2018 against Liam Griffiths, Callum Ide, and Luis Van Poch. How's things going along at the moment? Are you happy enough?
Yeah, it's going good. I'm enjoying it. I've done all of them are 4 rounds so far. This is going to be my first 6 rounder, so it's like my first sort of progression, or it's my first step to bigger things. So yeah, it's going well, mate. Looking forward to it. I've been busy. I've had it's 3 fights in 6 months, so I've been getting the fights in, which is good.
BoxRec have you listed as super middleweight. What's the weight situation?
Yeah, well, the middleweight limit is actually 72.6, so all 3 of my fights have been heavier than that. So if it technically, I've boxed as a super middle, but when I fight for a title, I'll be able to get down to the middleweight limit, which yeah.
All right, okay. So, yeah, I mean, obviously there's no strictness at the moment, trying to get down to the limit. But once the title opportunities come, which titles are you aiming for, in fact, when you're going to get down to middleweight?
Well, the first title that you tend to fight for is the Southern area.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll have my eye on that. And then, obviously, hopefully, once I win that, then you move on to the bigger titles, which would be English, British, and that. But your first step is Southern area.
Yeah, that'll obviously give you a good stepping stone. You're with Steve Goodwin now at the moment. Obviously, he's a very experienced manager, whispering in the ear, getting you working on your forward progression and that. What's Steve looking to do with you over the next year or so?
I think I'm just... so this is going to be my first 6 rounder, like I said.
Yeah.
And then I'm hoping that... I think the plan is for after this fight, I'm going to step up slightly in terms of opposition. and then just keep going from there. For right now, I'm just thinking like each fight as they come, not really planning too far ahead, but obviously at some point soon I'll be looking to be in line for the Southern area.
Yeah, it makes sense not to look too far ahead of yourself, I suppose. We've got Robbie Chapman on the call, everybody. Any social media presence, Robbie, you want to tell the listeners about? Maybe give you a follow or a like or something?
Yeah, so I'm on Insta as if you type in Chapman_Robbie.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on Twitter as Caretaker Camden, and Facebook just as Robbie Chapman.
Yeah, the Camden Caretaker. Interesting nickname. How did that come about?
Yeah, I work as a caretaker in Camden Regional High School.
Yeah.
So one of my mates, I think, just called me at once, and I liked it, and it just stuck. It stuck from there.
Are you still working there, or are you full-time pro now?
No, I wish.
Yeah.
No, so I work full-time. I work 6 days a week. Yeah, still working there.
So hopefully if things kick off, you maybe get a few sponsors on board, make that change if work up the levels.
Yeah, that'd be nice. That'd be very nice.
I mean, just looking at the domestic scene here, obviously it's a way off yet, but we're seeing the British title scene. You've got the likes of Liam Williams around there, Tommy Langford, Liam Cameron, Felix Cash. What do you make of these guys? Who do you think is the sort of hot talent at the moment in the middleweight division domestically?
I don't know. I think Felix Cash looks quite good, to be honest. I wouldn't really like to say the one that I think is the best or whatever, but yeah, that Felix Cash is quite good right now.
And
I wanted to spar. Hopefully, I'll get to spar him at some point soon.
That'd be good experience for you if you can even get in and start sparring guys of this kind of level.
Yeah, that'd be good. I've sparred with Ted Cheeseman,
mm-hmm.
And I've been sparring. Can't remember the light heavyweight Miles Shinkwin,
okay,
the light heavyweight English champion. So yeah, it's good to spar these sort of people and see how they do and how they, it's all good experience.
It's interesting that you sparred Ted Cheeseman. Obviously, we saw Ted last week losing for the European title. He took a hell of a lot of shots. Does he spar that way? I mean, he's easy to hit.
I don't really like to talk about sparring because sparring is sort of like a thing that you're not really meant to talk about. But
okay.
I've done good rounds with him. I enjoyed sparring with him. That's all I'll say, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
No problem. Just looking.
Sparring's a bit of a funny one, if you talk about sparring, it's
No, completely understand. Not a problem at all. Well, and just finally, Robbie, on the world scene as well. Looking at guys like Golovkin, Canelo. Did you see those fights between the pair? What did you make of them?
I did, yeah. I had Canelo winning both of them.
All right, okay, fair enough. So, you're happy enough with Canelo moving on now to fight Danny Jacobs?
Yeah, that'd be a good fight. I seem to be the only person in the world that thinks Canelo won both of them. And I get some stick when I tell people that. But yeah, I had him winning both. And I'll be looking forward to seeing him fight Jacobs. I actually thought Jacobs beat Golovkin as well. I had him a couple of points up.
All right, yeah. Golovkin looks like he might be signing with DAZN. We could see a third fight between Golovkin and Canelo.
Yeah.
You'd probably be picking Canelo for that one?
Yeah, I think he'll do him again, to be honest.
Fair enough.
What do you reckon?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think Golovkin's getting a bit older now, isn't he? It's now or never for him. He has to take that fight this year if he's going to beat Canelo, I think.
Yeah. Age catches up to everyone, doesn't it?
Exactly. I mean, you're only 25. You're only 25 years of age, though. So let's swing things back to your career. Just finally, tell us about the venue where people get tickets from for your clash with William Warburton.
Yeah, so I've actually got the tickets for my fight. So if anyone wants to buy them, they just contact me directly through Instagram, Facebook, any of them. And the fight's at York Hall, Bethnal Green on the 2nd of March. 3 weeks now.
Excellent stuff. Just throw those Instagram details out for us.
So Instagram, Chapman_Robbie, Facebook, Robbie Chapman, and Twitter, Caretaker Camden.
Excellent stuff. That's great. Thanks very much for joining us, Robbie. We appreciate it, and best of luck there. 2nd of March against William Warburton.
Thanks a lot, mate.
Cheers. All the best now.
Nice one. Cheers. Good night.
Bye. Robbie Chapman there. Good to hear from him. Just starting off in the old pro career, 3-0. Andy, you were just starting off as well, not in a pro career, but talking about Javon Davis. I cut you off in your prime there, but I know you're a good professional. Like, you'll bounce back with a vengeance. Tell us about Gervonta again, sir.
No, I was just there's not really much you can really say, actually. As I say, it's a last minute replacement. To be honest, Ruiz's best days were probably about super bantamweight and stuff. So I really don't know. You can say it's a last minute replacement. He did what he was supposed to do, I suppose. Come and got paid and knocked out in 1 round, I suppose. But one thing I really wanted to bring up, actually, and it probably needs to really go into Belly of the Week, but did Floyd Mayweather appear there on a horse there last night with his fucking shoes on? I mean, fucking hell, man. He was like, he'd been away at some equestrian fucking thing or something, and appears with these red lump fucking boots. What the fuck was he wearing?
Well, Javon Davis did have one hell of an entrance, Andy, and it reminded me of the time Jorge Arce came in on a horse, and I was thinking of some of the great entrances over the years. Wasn't it Floyd got carried in on like a Roman litter back against Gatti, I think it was. So maybe, that's what's inspired him, or Jorge Arce on the horse.
Old Jorge, Naz with the carpet. Remember Eubank that once with the motorbike, but you didn't really get the big entrance. It costs a shitload, I suppose,
What about Uzi Ahmed, Andy, the ultimate entrance?
Well, I suppose it didn't cost him anything, I suppose, apart from his fucking credit, I suppose,
He'll forever be an internet meme. So, yeah, just we want to see Javon Davis active recently, really, Andy, to be honest with you.
Aye. As you say, 3 fights this year. Saying that, though, who are you going to put him with next? I mean, obviously, Mahrez is going to be. Obviously, we could probably even write Mahrez's career off at this point. I would say he's had a good career, but Davis.
Don't think he should be fighting Mahrez, to be honest with you. He's had problems with the eye for a few years now, and if it's that bad, as I've heard it is, he shouldn't be in a ring.
I didn't think it was that bad, mate, in all honesty, so you're actually just telling me something I didn't know. But
I heard it was quite bad. Could be wrong, but that's what I heard. And what I'm saying is, it's something we've been hearing about for I remember a few years ago, they mentioned this when he was way back down in weight. So it's obviously something that's followed him throughout his career, you know what I mean?
Maybe a wee floater and stuff like that, managed to kind of sustain it. Man, that's a shame. But no, as for, like, say, Davis, I mean, I wouldn't put him in, like, say, the guy that beat Machado there last night. Obviously, I mean, that guy's at a certain level and stuff like that, and Davis is above him, and that would be brutal to see that fight. I wouldn't want to see that at all. Again, Steve, one name you mentioned during the week was, you weren't impressed with your opposition recently, was Barchal. Get it made. That's what I would say. I mean, you would think Barchal at this point, unification, always, with the fight against Maura and forget his name now.
Vargas, yeah.
Aye, good wars and stuff like that. It might be the right time for Davis as well. He needs a right good step up at this point.
What do you think, to Dave Loback? There's not much to talk about regarding the performance against Hugo Ruiz. He did all he could, coming in as a late notice replacement, I suppose. Mahrez has the eye problems. They're talking about Tevin Farmer. If he gets past John O'Carroll, maybe Davis could fight him. He could maybe knock his eyes straight. I don't know. Maybe that's a bit of a mean thing to say, Dave. What do you think about Dave? What do you think about Davis's chances going forward?
The Tevin Farmer fight is stylistically somewhat interesting. I'd still favor Davis. I think he's too big. I think he's too strong. He would get to him. Tevin Farmer's slick, but he does get hit, and getting hit by big shots coming off a big boy like that, who did miss weight initially, and although he did make it eventually. But this is not the first time he's had trouble on the scales. He did not officially miss weight this time, so props to him for eventually making it. But either way, I mean, I think he may not be long for the weight. If he's moving up, then his fights might get a little bit more interesting. There's nothing I can say about last night, really. I watched it once, barely paid attention. It was pointless. He just overwhelmed the guy and hammered him. Like, what more can you say? I don't personally think the Mahrez fight would have been good anyway. I never wanted to see it. So now that he's got this garbage over with, let's move on. Tevin Farmer next, or Lomachenko, or Gary Russell, somebody at a higher level, definitely, because he hasn't fought anybody at reasonable level since Pedraza, has he? Like,
No, Fonseca Cuellar was decent, but wasn't he killed at the weight? Who else did he fight? There was another guy, wasn't there?
I can't
the
even
dodgy
think of the guys'
ending.
names.
He smashed Liam Walsh. What but thing is Walsh was like always maybe like European level, but he'd only proved himself at British.
Yeah, he's not good.
The Walsh thing, though, Dave, that was one of the most bizarre things ever. Box Nation, or was it BT Sports, really gave that the big push. You know, Gervonta was coming over, Floyd was coming over. They were pumping it through the channels non-stop through Box Nation. It was in the papers and everything. And then poor old Liam Walsh, he lasted, about 3.5 rounds?
Yeah, did Frank think that Gervonta was going to sign with him?
I've no idea, but I thought Walsh would last longer than that, to be honest, because he's a decent fighter, but Javon Davis is just on another level. And what he did to Ruiz last night, Dave, I mean, he hit him and Ruiz looked like he'd been knocked into next Sunday. He got $100,000 for that last night. I suppose not bad work if you're only in there for 2.5 minutes, but his nose looked busted up and he looked in a bad way.
Yeah, I think it was really the pain that drove him down, because he got clocked and he didn't go down right away as though he'd been concussed. He paused for a moment, then the pain hit him, and he's like, "Oh shit, I better get on my knees here," which is just what Donnie says whenever he goes to Amir Khan's house. I'm not a huge fan of Davis. He looks like a little fatty in between fights. He's has allegations of thuggery against him. I don't necessarily think hanging out with Broner is the best move, though.
Just say it, Dave. It's not the fuck. It is the worst move he can make for his career. I mean, he's literally 8 weeks ago. He's running about fucking New York City or whoever it was, absolutely steamboats, right? And then he's expected to make weight 8 weeks later. Then he's going to go back and do it again, being a fat bastard, having to make weight again, and then. As you say, he's going to be pushed. He needs to stay at 130, right, to try and basically kind of boost his career a wee bit, get himself active, get some decent fights under his pillow before he's actually forced to move up in weight, before it's made for him.
Lads, this is where you're wrong, though, because Showtime showed a video before the fight of Davis and Broner on the beach together in slow motion, working out. They push each other harder in training. They want to be the best. You got this all wrong.
Aye, so I take it all the videos that I saw them like lying pish in the gutter, and that was like it was just like CGI that I was watching, was it?
See, he can get away with that at his young age. What is he?
Aye,
like?
but
21, 22.
Yeah, but Broner, look at what happened. Broner got funded within 3 years, right?
Yep.
Davis can get by, but again, weight bullying, right?
Yep.
If he's forced to move up in weight, he's going to get fucked.
Yep, and he will be. I mean, it's already hard for him, and he's young. And the older he gets, the harder cutting weights is going to be. And the more of these guys he fights, the more chance he's going to regress as far as like skill level. I think the weight was definitely a factor in his big win against Pedraza, which admittedly was more dominant than Lomachenko's win against Pedraza. So it was obviously different styles, and styles make fights. And I still think Loma would school his ass. So I'd love to see that fight.
I'm not sure, Dave. I know you know that I'm a sucker for getting on these bandwagons and taking L's. I was on the Broner bandwagon. I was on the Charlo bandwagon. I like the look. I like the look of Davis. I think he looks so talented. He punches hard. He's fast. It's just about getting it right outside the ring.
Good. Steve, give him the curse. Give him the Yildirim curse.
Yeah, Steve.
We'll see. Iced by a Eubank level guy in a couple of years.
If he hangs with Broner, he's going to get iced. Honestly, mate. I'll give it 3 years.
I know. Well, I don't know. Are you finished, Dave? Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, this was just a rant about his career, really. There's nothing to say much about last night. He'll be worth talking about more when we know that he's actually going to do something relevant in the sport. I mean, he holds a belt, which is semi-relevant. I mean, he's proved that he's world level, I guess. But as of now, he's been super inactive, and he just fought a nobody and knocked him over immediately. So nothing to say.
Nothing to say, says Dave. After 5 minutes, let's dip into the chat. Well, good evening, everybody. Danny Young's in there as well. Tosh, Mark Pritchard, a few of the regular listeners. Charles Lindner. Gervonta Davis looks like a Cabbage Patch doll, says Marco Barrera. Wouldn't disagree with that. The thing is, Gabe, Let's bring you in at this venture, shall we? We go on about his antics outside of the ring. Again, Showtime, we're showing all these things before the fight, Gabe. And his current trainer, Calvin Ford, who he started with, he's back with again now, and also Kevin Cunningham down in Florida, both said how hard Gervonta Davis works in the gym. He works like an absolute demon. So they're painting a different picture to what we're perceiving here, Gabe. So what's the story? Is Davis putting in the yards outside the ring? We don't think he is, but Calvin Ford and Kevin Cunningham say that he is putting in the work.
Well, they're his trainers, so of course they're going to say positive things about him. The only time that they wouldn't was if he left them high and dry, didn't pay them, or some kind of nonsense like that. They're getting paid, they're training the kids, so of course they're going to say good things. I highly doubt that they are complete bullshitting on that front. I would imagine, though, that it's a scenario that we see time and time again, that you can work like hell in the camp. You can do everything right in the camp. You can follow every scientific piece of knowledge to a T in the camp. But none of that is going to save you if you act like a jackass outside of camp. I think one of the lines I remember, I used to enjoy watching Lennox Lewis whenever he was commentating with HBO. He still does his Lennoxisms, I think is what he calls them, on Twitter. But he said something that was really, really true, I think, for a lot of people that are at the highest level. And he said, if you eat a piece of cake in between fights, it's okay. But if you eat too much of it, you're going to be able to tell. And I wonder if he's not, in between camps, pissing away too much of the work that he's doing in camps and not staying as in shape, because he's having to bust his ass in camp because he's a smart kid and he realizes that what he's doing in between camps is not going to be good enough to keep him where he's at. You see certain guys that we'll call it live the life in between camps and in between fights the whole time. I mean, they for years are on this, dietary plan or workout plan or whatever it may be. It may be combinations of all those things. And they remain at high levels for an extended period of time. I mean, look at fucking Bernard Hopkins. The guy doesn't drink soda. He always, will talk about eating healthy and taking care of himself. And that extends the career of a man. It extends the career of anyone in a sport. And so whether it's boxing, basketball, football, any sport, it doesn't really matter. All those things extend the life and the ability to perform at a high level. He's working like a devil because he's not taking care of his shit in between camps. That's what I think is the case. So like I said, you can work like the devil in camp the whole time that you're in camp, but it's not going to be good enough if you consistently act like a dickhead like this kid does. And I think he's got all the physical traits and the IQ to this point shows to be there, but he doesn't take good care of himself. And so he understands, he realizes, as do the trainers, he's got to bust his ass twice as hard in camp to get into position to be where he should be.
Thanks, Gabe. Ozzy's on the call as well. A lot of the people in the chat are talking about discipline, saying that they don't think Davis is disciplined. Talking about Davis's trainer, actually, Ozzy, we're asking the burning questions tonight. I noticed Calvin Ford came into the ring wearing glasses with strings on. What do you think about that, Ozzy? Are you a fan of glasses with strings?
I am, yeah. I've got about 8 pairs because I love them that much. But no, I agree with the discipline issue on Joanna Davis. I think it's the 3rd time he's missed weight now. I mean, he made it in the end, but it's irrelevant. And he loves to talk the talk, doesn't he? He's got Floyd Mayweather in his corner. Look, I'm the best. I'm the best super featherweight in the world, but he's not. And the fact is, he bombed the weight again. And yes, he made it. And last night was literally, it was a last-minute replacement. Did we expect anything else? No, we didn't. And Davis talks himself into certain corners, and what do we leave him with? Not a lot, because he talks about, I'll beat Lomachenko. Will he take the fight? No, he won't. So it's going to be interesting to see where he goes next. He's obviously got Floyd in his corner, wearing those wellies, which I'm sure we'll mention in Bellew of the Week, those horrendous shoes. But it's going to be interesting to see, really. It's interesting to see. I'd like to see Davis move on straight away and just go in with Tevin Farmer, Burchell. There's no one else I want to see him in with, really. Because what's the point? Last night's fight was irrelevant. It was pointless. What did we see from Gervonta Davis? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So I think everybody, the fight he wants to see is Tevin Farmer. Tevin Farmer will beat John O'Carroll. It's comfortable. John O'Carroll struggled against Guillaume Frenoir. Tevin Farmer will destroy John O'Carroll. Nothing against that, but there's levels. The fight that everybody wants to see is Farmer against Gervonta Davis. Eddie Hearn, for as much as we want to criticise him, has said he's made 3 offers for that fight. I think once Farmer comes through the John O'Carroll fight, I think we'll see an even bigger offer. If that doesn't happen next, it's going to be interesting to see where we see Gervonta Davis. So the next fight I want to see is Tevin Farmer, Gervonta Davis, big unification fight, a huge fight, a good fight as well. Because we'll see Gervonta Davis tested then. I mean, we mentioned Liam Walsh before. I actually thought Liam Walsh had posed a couple of problems. Did he pose any problems? No, because Gervonta Davis absolutely annihilated him. And I genuinely believed Liam Walsh had posed some problems, but he didn't. He's at the top of the top levels there. So it's going to be interesting to see about Gervonta Davis. But, I mean, last night we learned nothing, absolutely nothing. And I think the Tevin Farmer fight is the fight we want to see next.
Andy, a quick question on the venue. Am I right in saying that this Dignity Sports Centre or something, it sounds like a euthanasia centre, doesn't it? The Dignity Health Sports Park, is that the Stub Hub? Is that what that's called now?
I think it might get renamed, mate. I'm pretty certain it's the old Stub Hub. Is it no likes of they play the football and the tennis centre on a bit there as well?
No, I wondered why a couple of them, Malignaggi and Brian Custer, I think you call him, were wearing hats, and then Jim Gray was walking around with like a scarf on. So obviously, you know, it's I think it is the old Stub Hub, isn't it? Yeah.
It probably will be, mate. Just they always lease their places out with big, massive, bloody sponsorship deals and stuff. That's how they pay for it all.
Yeah, we're available, Andy. What do you think? We could be called like the TIE Fighters get renamed. We could call the Boxing Asylum podcast something else. What do you think? Maybe the Quick Save podcast or the Iron Brew?
We could always kind of bring back Safeway, I suppose.
Netto. Do you get Netto up there? Do you remember them?
No. I tell you what's dying out. You do get the macro.
Oh yes, the wear type thing. Yeah.
The kind of it's like Liberace. It's kind of dying a wee bit, you know.
Anyway, sorry, Andy, I've took you off on a little pathway here. Let's go on to the undercard, shall we? I thought it was interesting that Showtime didn't show the Eriksson-Lubin fight. They showed Bulgari and they showed Mario Barrios. So I haven't seen Lubin defeating Ishe Smith. I did watch Bulgari against Fortuna. Wasn't great, to be honest with you. I thought Fortuna won by about 96-93. The knockdown was bullshit. I don't agree with that at all. But one person I will give a shout out to, in fact, 2 people, Mario Barrios and his opponent, Richard Zamora. I think that Zamora was possibly maybe Nicaraguan or something, came in at 18-2. And I thought to myself, oh, here we go. It's going to be another built-up record. This dude had a real go. He was getting battered by Barrios and he swung for the fences and he said, I'm going to go out fighting here. Full credit to my man, Richard Zamora. I think he won the weekend for me.
I never saw it, mate. I did read some of the reports saying the guy was a bit like a brutal slugfest and that, so I won't get around to watch it, but I've no doubt if you're saying it's well worth a watch, I'll get into it right now.
Gabe, what about you, Ishe Smith? I believe you have seen this spectacle. Fill me in.
It was glorious, and praise be to Allah or Jesus or whomever it is that you believe in. Ishe Smith has said he will retire. So
fuck. Oh, that was one dog shit. Well, I mean, I suppose it was he did well for his selling that, but he was awful to watch. I mean, I remember Kurt. Remember he'd actually stayed up one night to watch him fight. I think it was either I'm pretty sure it was either Cornelius Bundridge or it was one of the fights. I
It
forget
was
what it was.
Bungie. It was Bungie.
Was it Bundridge? And that was it. Kurt has never been seen since. He's washed for boxing altogether. You just never see him back in the podcast. This is the reason why this was like peak Kurt, and then right over the back end on the same night, guy was never the same after that fight. I mean, it was just shit. It was like weird scorecards. There was point deductions. There was roughhousing. There was sake, man.
I remember that it was awful, and then it was like all of a sudden the guy just like you said fell off the map. It was the worst fucking thing.
And see the worst thing to fucking I gave won a world title with that fight as well, and Floyd Mayweather gave him a Rolex for that one. I mean, Jesus, I couldn't go that. A fucking Rolex. See that Floyd's got like fucking 300 of them, isn't he? Likes to show them off.
Along with his boots. Come on then, Gabe. Anything else on the undercard? Did you see Barrios or Bulgaria against Fortuna?
I watched a bit of the Fortuna, but I don't care about any of those other fights. I'm not a big Sharif Bogaray fan or anything like that, so I was just kind of mildly checking in on that stuff. But I was excited about Ishe Smith getting retired and getting stopped last night. Not that I wish any long-term damage on the guy, but Jesus, he's shit to watch.
Not doing it for Gabe. No, actually, we'll go to you, Rob, I think, because Rapping Rob Kelly's jumped on the call, everybody. No sign of Jason Chukwu in the chat, Rob, unfortunately. I did want to bring you better news than that, but no sign of Chukwu. We've started
Chukwu will be there, man. He'll be there for the end. He likes value of the week and all that. He'll be there at the end, don't worry.
Hope so. We've started off talking about Tank. We've also gone into a bit of Fortuna, a bit of Barrios. Tell me about Davis. What do you reckon, Rob?
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about it in the chat during the week, that how is he going to look, seeing as he was struggling to make weight. The last time he missed weight, I know there was some kind of kidnapping scandal going on, and that was on the floor. I don't know, he's kind of looked bad in the ring. I think Davis looks. I'm going to get, like I said before last week on the pod, I'm going to give Davis the benefit of the doubt as a fighter, despite his out of the ring antics, because they haven't really affected him like Broner so far in the ring. He had that one bad performance, but anytime else I've seen Davis, he's looked good. Like, so he's got a right little punch on him. Got fast hands. He looks good in the ring. Like, I like watching him fight. Like, so didn't get to see enough of him last night. My friend was actually ringside. Memphis Bleak was ringside last night at the fights after the Grammy brunch. They went in and hung out with Floyd and watched the fight ringside. But the fight had only started when it was over. But a beautiful shot he caught him with. And Ruiz didn't want to know after that, did he? Like, it was Jack Reese was the referee, right? And Jack Reese did his perfect Jack Reese thing where the fighter gets up at 9 and he asks him repeatedly, do they want to continue? So he did that, and the guy didn't want any more. But I want to see him in with a big fighter now. Like, I want to see, obviously he's struggling to make the weight. Like, he's not going to make 130 as handily again. But when you hear Floyd talking last night, the only fight I want to see really, if Mikey Garcia is not going to come down and fight Lomachenko, is Lomachenko Tank Davis, or Tank Davis, Tevin Farmer, one of them two. I'd say we're more likely to get Tevin Farmer, or the winner of John O'Carroll, Tevin Farmer, I should say, really. And either of those are a great fight. But I would love to see him against Lomachenko. I think Lomachenko beat him, by the way, but I'd still love to see it.
Brilliant stuff. Thanks, Rob. Delighted to have our second guest of the evening on the call. It's Brad Foster. How are you, Brad?
I'm not too bad. How are you, mate?
I'm very well. Thanks for taking the call. Let's get stuck straight into it then. Brad's an undefeated British super bantamweight. He's going in for the vacant British title on the 8th of March, I think it is, against Josh Whale. How's things coming along? You must be buzzing for that.
Yeah, that's it. Fighting Josh Whale on the 8th of March. Things are going good. I'm working hard, believing in myself, and can't wait to get in there on March the 8th and get the job done.
You're obviously going into enemy territory. No qualms about going into the Metrodome in Barnsley?
It's a fight at the end of the day. It's only going to be me and him in there. Like, the people outside the ring can't do anything. It's just down to me and him, isn't it? So that's boxing for you. You have to go wherever and perform how you're meant to perform. And if you believe in yourself, you can beat anyone anywhere, really.
Yeah, well said, Brad. He's 9-0-1, 3 knockouts. Only 21 years of age, Brad. So you've got a British title shot pretty quickly.
Yeah, well, of course, it's an opportunity that I can't not take, really. To become a British champion at 21 years old is a massive achievement. I think there's only 3 people since the war that have done that. So it's all motivation, and I'm from Lichfield as well. And there ain't a lot of people that are doing big things like becoming a British champion from Lichfield. So it's all motivation, and I just want to get in there and become British champion.
Yeah, so obviously winning the title and getting the win on the night is the main thing, but there's maybe a bit of history on the line as well there for you.
Yeah, well, exactly. Obviously, I don't think about it too much. I just take one fight at a time, everything in my stride. My main objective is to go there, perform how I should perform to the best of my ability, and I'm confident that I will be British champion that night.
Josh is obviously quite experienced. He's 27, 10 and 2. He's fought for British titles and won them. He's fought for European titles. But, Brad, that's been down at bantamweight, so you're naturally the bigger guy.
Yeah, well, I respect Josh well a lot. I think he's had more 10 and 12 round fights than I have had fights, so it's a very tough ask for myself. But as you said, I believe in myself. I know what I can do. He's had more experience in there, but my team believe in me and I believe in myself, and that's what you need to do, really, isn't it? So, yeah, I'm confident of getting the win.
Yeah, you mentioned the 10 and 12 rounders there. You've been scheduled to fight for a 10 rounder, which was in your last fight against Leon Gower, which you obviously won. How are you preparing mentally and physically to go the 12 round distance?
I'm training hard. I'm doing long round sparring, long round pads, and just making sure I'm fit as really putting in the work in the gym. So come fight night, I'm going to be able to do them 12 rounds because I'm preparing for a 12 round good fight. Do you know what I mean? So whatever happens on the night, isn't it?
We mentioned that fight against Leon Gower. Talk us through that one. He was 6-0. You're obviously undefeated as well. You put him down in the first round. He retired in the 8th round, and you got yourself the vacant Midlands area super bantamweight title.
Yeah, that was a good fight for myself. I think when I'm fighting someone who wants it just as much as me, and I'm fighting an undefeated fighter who wants to win just as much as me, that's when it brings me out of my shell, to be honest with you. And that's the fights that you can really get up for, and they're the fights that you want to win, because it's a bit of a challenge, isn't it, really? A bit of the fear factor, so then you come out your shell and perform better. They're the type of fights I want. And this next fight with Josh, well, it's a hard fight for me, so I need to be on the game, and that's the type of fight I want.
Yeah, Brad Foster's on the call with us, everybody. He's on Twitter, Brad_Foster16. Go and give him a follow. Any other social media platforms, Brad?
Instagram is _Brad Foster_ again, and then Facebook is just Brad Foster again.
Go and find him out, everybody. That fight against Leon Gower, Brad, was in July 2018. It's been quite a while. Have you been waiting around for the British board to sort of put you forward? What's the story?
Yeah, there was a lot of things happening. Obviously, I wanted to get a little fight before the end of the year, but to be honest, I'd rather just get a big fight in. I was meant to be fighting for the British in December as well, against another fighter, but I don't know what happened there. But I don't focus on that anymore. I've got a date for this one. It's happening now, March the 9th. So just looking forward to that one.
You've obviously been buzzing around the Midlands scene, fighting in Birmingham, Walsall, Leicester, places like that. Do you think you'll take a good crowd up to Barnsley with you?
Yeah, I'm always going to take a good crowd with me. I'm from Lichfield. I've got everyone behind me coming from Lichfield. I've got people coming from Birmingham, where I train, all the surrounding areas in Staffordshire. So I'll call it Brad's Barmy Army, because we always come and we always make some noise. I've got good support around where I'm from, which I really do appreciate.
Great stuff. Who are you training with there in Birmingham?
Who am I training with?
Yeah.
My dad's my main coach.
And
so,
who does he get you in with sparring and stuff like that? Guys in and around your weight? Heavier guys, maybe?
Yeah. Well, I do lots of sparring with, like, Gamal Yafai, the Yafais. I've been doing some other local fighters around the Birmingham area. They're good spars for me, they're pushing me. So that's all you need. I need to be getting pushed in the sparring, and obviously working hard, believing in myself. It's all good work coming up to this fight, yeah. You mentioned getting up
for the fights there, and obviously having guys coming at you unbeaten with a bit of ambition. In 2017, you went in with Brett Fido, who's obviously a journeyman. Yeah. There was a draw there, 58 apiece. What happened there?
That was a massive learning fight for me. I had a few things going on outside the ring, but you know what? I still thought I won the fight. It is what it is. It's a massive learning curve for me, and that's what boxing's about. keep on learning, keep on progressing, and now I'm here now, focusing on my next fight.
Great stuff. I think we'll leave it there, Brad. That's brilliant. Josh Whale, everybody, he's fighting in Barnsley, vacant British Super Bantamweight title on the 8th of March at Brad_Foster16. Just the best of luck to you, Brad. I hope you get the job done.
Nice one. Thanks, mate. See you later.
Cheers. All the best now. Brad Foster there. Thanks to our friend Sam for putting us in touch with Brad. He's going in against Josh Whale. That'll be a tough one, Ozzy, because you mentioned there yourself, Josh is coming up in weight. He's had 10 losses, but he's very experienced in and around British title level. But Brad, 9-0-1, he's only 21 years of age. Even if he doesn't manage to get the win, if he puts in a good account of himself, he can come again.
That's the thing with Josh Whale, isn't it? He's been there, seen it, done it. He's won fights at every level. I mean, he boxed for the European title, I think, at what was it? Bantamweight last time out, and there was talk he won the fight as well. So it's a big fight for Brad Foster, and he's, like I said, he's jumping up in weight. It's going to be a big ask. He's 21, and like I said, you can look at Josh Whale's record and you think, right, he's been there. I'm not saying he's a journeyman, but you can look at the record and think, right, well, he's had that many losses, he's going to struggle, but he's not. And Whale, he's won a British title. I think he defended it twice. And then he should have been against Kash Farouk and then pulled out and then got this European title shot. So it's a big ask, but it's a good fight. And that's what you want to see for the British title fights, isn't it? You want to see competitive fights between two lads who want to win. And this is what we're going to see. So fair play to Steffi Bull, the promoter. It's not on a big show at all. There's no TV behind it.
No.
It's a good show. It's a good show. Great show. Fair play to Steffi Bull, because it's not cheap to put those fights on as well. It's not as if we're talking, like £3,000 each or something like that. When the British title's on the line, it costs money. And when you've no TV backing, at the end of the day, the promoter's got to put the hand in the pocket. Steffi Bull's done that. It's a big fight, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. So it's going to be interesting because, like I say, Josh Whale's stepping up in the weight, and Brad Foster's established. So it's a perfect fight for a British title, and that's what we want to see.
Ozzy, I'm going to put you to work here. I need to sweat this beer out of you. Tell me about Friday night. Denton Vassell went over to Australia to fight Tim Sue. The bookies had this one right. Sue, he's a chip off the old block, isn't he? He can definitely punch, and he even looks like the old man.
He did, and the fact you put me on the spot is an absolute curse. So, but it's not a shock because I saw Denton Vassell get knocked out by Evaldas Korsakis. So this is not a surprise win. People can look at it and go, yeah, Tim Tszyu, what a great win over Denton Vassell. But Evaldas Korsakis beat him, and that was for a Central Area title. So we're talking about levels. Don't get me wrong, he put him out in fine fashion, and it was a great stoppage. However, we need to see more of Tim Tszyu now. I've seen him in with poor opponents. I mean, he looks like he's out for a start. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, what I want to know is, this was boxed for the interim WBA Oceania Super Welterweight title. How the hell is Denton Vassell qualifying for an Oceania title? I don't know. I don't think even Denton knows. But he got the fight anyway. However, it was a good stoppage. I'm not going to take anything away from Tim Tszyu, but it's going to be interesting to see now. He's got a win over a credible opponent, regardless of the level he's been at and what he was at tonight. He can only go up now, Tim Tszyu. So we're going to wait and see. I mean, 12-0, 10 KOs. On paper, it's brilliant. But Conor Benn on paper is brilliant. So we need to see him tested properly. So we're going to wait and see now. Like I say, it's his first fight of 2019. Let's see what's going to happen next. He's got some sort of world ranking. He can't continue boxing, I'm not saying Denton Vassell's a put-in, but he needs to start stepping up.
Yeah, in and around this time frame for his father, they were bringing over the likes of Juan Laporte to fight against him, and they were starting to push him over on top rank shows, undercards. I think a Miguel Angel Gonzalez undercard. They were sending Costa over when he was around 8 or 9-0, which obviously eventually led to the Vince Phillips fight, which was his undoing. But maybe it's time for them to push Tim over as well. We've got the Joseph Parker link up. Those type of fighters do get bought over, so maybe top rank Bob Arum will start having a look at the next in line, which is old Tim. He looks pretty damn decent. His father was an excellent fighter. Let's move on, shall we? Shout out to James Tennyson, who got a knockout in the Ulster Hall in Belfast last night. I was at that one. James, maybe not going to fight for the Commonwealth Super Featherweight title, which he's obviously in possession of. Andy, they were talking about putting him in against like Ronnie Clark, but no, he came in over the lightweight limit last night. Not a pick of fat on him. Thinks he might campaign at lightweight. Just need to get Ronnie Clark back in the ring, I suppose.
So is he definitely fighting for the Commonwealth?
He holds the Commonwealth, Tennyson. They were talking about maybe the Clark fight. They were talking about a few things. Clark is supposed to have been fighting Sam Bowen a couple of times. He's pulled out. So you imagine that he's maybe not going to get that shot now.
Nah, I can't see it, mate. No, I was just going to throw it out there, obviously, as well, because you were there last night. But I was just going to say, actually, did anybody catch the thing on BoxRec last night with that card in Fiji? This is just like something I just picked up on. So anyways, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's like 8 fights in the undercard, right?
Mm-hmm.
And each of them pretty much end. They're all like 4 or 6 rounders and stuff like that. A couple of knockouts, few point decision wins and all that type of things. Gets to the main event, right? Joseph Kawajo against I think it's called a Savaraka Nalvia, right? For the vacant Fijian light heavyweight title, right? Fight was called off after 6 fucking rounds because of heavy rain due to extreme and unsafe conditions. Can you imagine sitting through that whole fucking card and then you get halfway through the main event, it gets called off because did they check the BBC weather output?
You know what the weather's like there, Andy? Probably blew the ring onto a different island or something.
Exactly. I mean, you go to Fiji, the dogs got nowhere to piss. They lie in their back and they piss in the wind and it ends up in the Western Samoa or fucking Australia and stuff like that, you know. Fucking unbelievable. What did they expect?
Fijian boxing, man. Oh, there you go. Thanks, Andy, for that update. Also, talking of updates of this nature, we talk about Prince Patel on this show. We're also a big fan of the Hitman Doctor, Dr. Hitman, our thief Daniel. He got another win defending the RBO title. Great to have won all 6 rounds with a clinical boxing exhibition, if he does say so himself on his Facebook. Worked nicely behind that razor jab to land power shots to both head and body. It was difficult to get the stoppage as the opponent went into survival mode. Tremendous rounds in the bank nonetheless, and a brilliant experience to have done so in Berlin, says the Hitman.
Who is that fraud?
Andy, he's the Royal Boxing, or what is it, Royal Boxing Organisation champion. Yeah,
I remember I seen that title up for grabs for the first time in French Polynesia. So I think we can just put an underscore right underneath that title and asterisk right next to it. Out of order.
Andy, I don't really think you are. Just going against the Dr. Hitman. I mean, the fight was that credible. It's not even registered on BoxRec. So it's that good. BoxRec haven't even registered it. So, Dr. Hitman, you know where you are. You're posing in Mercedes in Manchester with those 2-pen belts, the RBO belts. So, what can I say?
Talking about credibility, by the way, or lack thereof, what's this story about Chris Eubank tattooing a fucking 4-line on his head?
What?
Junior or senior?
Junior apparently is tattooed a 4. Seriously, I read this in the chat. They can't even take the piss out of this one, surely.
I've no idea, to be honest, Andy. But the chat are mentioning Andrew Selby. Do you remember the fight that was supposed to be coming up? It's been reshelved, rescheduled. Yeah, March the 9th in Mexico now, apparently.
Oh, really?
Happen. Oh, right. Yeah. According to Marco Barrera, he would know. He's from Mexico. There you go. Right, let's move on, shall we? Rob, let's get you stuck in on this other card. Fantasy Springs Casino. It was on DAZN. Alberto Machado. Bit of a surprise this was. Machado's shit. I think we're all in agreement today. He's not great, is he? But I wasn't expecting him to lose to Andrew Cancio, especially after the first round when he knocked him down. Fair play to Cancio. He found that body and he hammered him.
Dude, it was brilliant. It was right. It was one of those fights where you're watching and you're expecting nothing, and then it turns out to be just a proper scrap. Can you hear me? Because the wind is quite bad. You hear me? Yeah?
We can hear you, Robert.
Okay, yeah. No, I thought actually Machado looked good in the first round. It was a bit of an odd punch. He caught him on the side of the head and then clipped him on the way down. But after that, he didn't go head hunting. I always kind of look for that in the younger fighters. Like, he's only 21-0, and he was digging to the body. Like, so he was doing things right. But when he got it back, when he got it back, I don't think he was expecting that. That kind of comeback, and it kind of, as soon as he got hit in the body, he started to go into survival mode, and the body shot to finish it was absolutely brilliant. Like, so can't knock Cancio. Like, he wasn't going down, he wasn't there to just take the payday. Even things weren't going against him in the first round, he regrouped and he wanted to fight on the inside, and he was brilliant at getting close to Machado, who wasn't really using the southpaw jab as well as he should have been after round one. And he was able to get close to him and fight on the inside and throw little combinations in between the guard and really rough him up, like. And he came to break him up and take the title, like. So brilliant for him, like, absolutely brilliant turnaround as well after the first round. I don't know, the Machado kind of falling asunder kind of reminded me a little bit of, even though he's nowhere near in levels to Linares, but it reminded me of Linares kind of falling apart against Antonio DeMarco a little bit. I know it was just like it's going against him and he can't seem to adjust. And you can see Freddie in the corner trying to kind of tell him to box him, stop. You know what I mean? You're lying on the ropes, you're playing into it. But from Cancio, absolutely brilliant, like, brilliant.
And do you know what it is as well, Rob? I know we're going about undefeated records all the time, but if you look at his record compared to Cancio's record, it exemplifies that difference in experience.
Yeah, even though Cancio has like 4 or 5 losses or whatever, like, again, I think all that's in a kind of an extension of the Floyd era, like the undefeated, the 20-0 to world champion. Even heard Floyd talking about it last night with Gervonta. Like, Floyd is trying to avoid Lomachenko and do the Mayweather blueprint. Like, he's talking that Lomachenko will be 40 soon and he needs a lot of fights and tank. There's no rush. But like, he could learn from the Canelo blueprint too, because Canelo's stock grew massively after his loss to Floyd, even though he didn't win a round. It's just the fact that he fought him at such a young age. So why not throw tank in with Lomachenko? Even if he loses every round, his stock will still grow, like, I think. But I kind of gone off the point there a little bit. But yeah, good fight.
Good man, Robert. Let's get you in on this Hater Dave, shall we, before we move on to the main event. Freddie Roach has been bigging up Machado. You know, what's this with Freddie of saying that a fighter's good and he's not good? The thing is about Machado, though, Dave, I've noticed, it's his frame. He has like a weird frame. He looks like he's been created on a computer game or something.
Yeah, he's a bit gangly, I guess you would say. And that narrow body was ripe for the picking. You could almost tell he's got that Puerto Rican prospect style. It reminds me of that other guy who like had hand problems. His name was I don't even remember. Verdejo with the hand problems, and you like tried to be flashy, tried to be like rely on speed and like look for explosive shots that would look great on a highlight reel, but ultimately not a lot of substance on the inside where it really counts. And Cancio just said, I'm not going to be denied. I've got all my fans here. They were cheering his name. And he weathered the early bruising and was willing to punch with a guy who was hitting him. Because as Cancio was getting into the fight, he was taking a fair bit of shots back. And this is something that I think the commentators were talking about it too, that you have expected Kovalev's opponent, what was his name? I can't remember anything right now. I'm drunk. Alvarez.
Stop Jameson you're drinking, mate. Should be drinking listen whiskey.
You'd expected Elidar Alvarez to have punched.
Dave, you sound like someone who's accidentally like picked up the call here or something, and you're like,
well, you know,
what am I doing here?
I'm not alone. I'm not alone tonight. You know, Aussie.
Hey, I'm starting. I'm there. I'm with the boys. Listen, I don't want to leave these behind. I'm with these.
We're getting lit.
We're getting there.
Yeah, it's gonna be lit.
I'm saying nothing.
Yeah, so that's 4 of us, baby.
I heard. Yeah, he should have punched. Oh, he did punch with him. Alvarez should have punched with Kovalev. Maybe he would have had the same kind of success that Cancio had, because Machado was not so good on the defensive end of the spectrum, and also kind of brittle, it appeared. He didn't take that many body shots before he was ready to quit, it looked like to me. I mean, he got up every time, but he wanted out. I mean,
Showed it too, didn't he, Dave? As soon as he was whacking into the body, he looked like someone who was getting hurt.
Yeah,
I agree with that as well. Yeah,
looked like he didn't. I don't think I should be taking this kind of punishment.
He had no answers to it, actually.
It's not like a typical Freddie Roach fighter, though. But at the moment, it's not obscene to see Freddie Roach fighters getting stopped now. I mean, he was in the Tyson Fury corner, and he was saying that Fury should have gone out Wilder, and he could have got him out. But at the same time, you wouldn't have been shocked to see Fury knocked out because it'd have been gung-ho and, and aggressive and overly aggressive. It's not, in my opinion, it's not a shock to see that Freddie Roach fighters that are overly aggressive and then basically get outworked and stopped because they're that gung-ho in the tactics.
Any response to that, Dave?
Was that to me? Something
Right,
about
That's to anybody.
there's something about Roach being like a hyper aggressive trainer and sort of being shot. I mean, like you know how he trains some of his guys on the phone. It's hard to tell exactly where he's at as a trainer.
He's a gun for hire. We said that when he was working with Pascal in the rematch with Kovalev.
I mean, I really think it's more the fighters than the trainers, or sometimes there's the perfect mesh because, you see this with a lot of great trainers. Not all. Like, you get Ray Arcel, you get Customato, guys who have, like, super long, Emmanuel Stewart, long-term success with maybe not always a variety of styles, but not always. Like, Virgil Hunter, Freddie Roach, they're made off one great fighter, Andre Ward and Manny Pacquiao.
Andy, do you remember when Freddie Roach used to train Alex Arthur by phone?
Oh,
in the gym.
Was he no Arthur's trainer at the time he got smashed off Gomez? I think he was.
But he had somebody else in the corner.
Yeah, that was the storyline. He wasn't in the country. There was a lot of talk about it in the week. That was a fight, that was, by the way. Absolute cracker.
It was a great fight, that man. He got fucking. I tell you what, he just. I can't hear Rob for that
Somebody trying to push Rob back of the car.
But it's for that whole fight, he just couldn't defend that left hook for Gomez. He just all night long. But see, I tell you, the best thing about Gomez's career was the night when he fought Ricky Burns, walking to the ring with his silly wee fucking Mexican hat on. He didn't do that in Glasgow. So what happens is he's walking to the ring. I'll have that, pal. Popped off his head within 10 seconds of walking out to the ring. It was fucking brilliant.
He must have got false sense of security after doing it in Edinburgh.
Thought he could get away with it. Right, there's some drinking going on the pod tonight. If you like a pissed up pod, everybody hit the thumbs up in the chat if you're enjoying this pissed up panel. Andy, what's your sobriety levels at the moment? Where are you? Scale of 1 to 10.
Oh, listen, I'm nowhere near the levels of Aussie. I mean, Aussie's trying to think his way through the podcast, and Dave, you can just clearly hear that he's just, he's at that tip. He's at the tip. He's just, a few more drinks, and he's like, me. I'm having a few whiskies. That's all I'm having. Nothing strenuous, but.
Andy, I've got something to drive you to drink. Tell me about the Ray Vargas Franklin Manzanilla fight.
Didn't see it. Did not see it. And the reason
we're costing Ray Vargas, aren't we, man, for being ocular aids?
I know, but listen, he's a decent, good fighter, but you just want to see him switch it up a wee bit. Ronnie Rios and who's that? Some Armenian guy that he fought. That was the two fights. Hovhannissian. That's the two fights I remember watching. Obviously, Gavin McDonald and that as well. They were fucking shit. He's a good kid, good technician, but just switch it up a wee bit. He can win all these fights all he wants. Clear at the park on points. It's just he is against CWBC title challengers stuff like that. He's far too good. Why no start looking like some of the better fighters? I mean, I would like to see him in maybe Diego De La Hoya, for example, or Daniel Roman. But other than that, I mean, not really interested in watching them actually.
What about Dogba? That'd be a good fight.
He's got to beat Navarrete, though, hasn't he? I think they're having a rematch.
I to be honest, I wouldn't have that rematch right now. Actually, I'd let him have a couple of tune-up fights and then think about, because to be honest, he never really in that fight he didn't even look like he could change that fight in any way, shape, or form. So I think he maybe needs a couple of opponents, maybe because I'm mimicking that style, and then maybe go for that rematch because he got pretty much handled, I thought.
Yeah, he did. He got exposed. Not in the greatest sense.
I'm still on the hype train. I'm still there.
Yeah, he wasn't exposed in the greater sense, but I think he just showed different level, different style, and that I didn't expect Navarrete to beat him, but still, yeah. He'll be back. He'll be back. Right, Gabe, let's bring you back in, shall we? Sunday, the 10th of February. That is today, by my reckoning. ESPN Plus. We all know that you love a bit of Sunday boxing, Gabe. Jose Carlos Ramirez, in a few hours, will be defending his WBC super lightweight title against Jose Zepeda. Remember him fighting against Terry Flanagan. Ray Beltran's on the undercard. He'll be relaxed now. He's got his green card going in against Hiroki Okada. 19-0. Maybe Okada's expected to win that one. Also, Genesis Savania. Think he fought Oscar Valdez at one point. Is on the card. Saul Rodriguez, friend of the pod. You can find my interview with him on the Asylum channel. Andy Vences, who once drew with... Who was that drawing against? Oh, I can't remember. It was on an undercard somewhere anyway. Anyway, Gabe, sorry, I'm taking you off on a tangent here. Tell me about Ramirez against Zepeda. In a few hours, what will the fans be witnessing?
I think that you're going to see a pretty good fight. It'll be a pretty good struggle back and forth. I think these guys are fairly evenly matched in terms of grittiness and what they're willing to go to go head to head and see who comes out. Look, it's not going to be the highest level technical fight. So if that's what you're aiming to see, then you probably better flip the channel quick. They're both decent technicians as far as that goes. I mean, we got to respect anybody that gets to certain levels of the sport and their technical abilities, because you don't get far in boxing if you don't have some technical ability. But if you're going to want to watch a real clinical type boxing match, I don't suspect that we're going to see that this afternoon. I think it's going to be more of a and this is not a knock on the guys that used to fight on there, but more of a Friday night fight style of show. So it won't be blood and guts and an absolute brawl at that level, but it'll be more along those lines. It'll be more of a fight than a boxing match, the way I see it happening. If it turns into a boxing match, then somebody's going to get their ass whipped. It's going to be one-sided, because I don't really think either one of these guys is expected to go into the fight with a real technical foot forward and think that they're going to go in without getting hit and having to fight back a little bit. Because I think that the style of both these guys bring, and I think they're gonna it'll be a decent show. The rest of the undercard, I'm not even sure who all the fuck you said was going on, but the whole card should be decent. I just don't think. There's a reason they put them on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, I don't know. The rest of the undercard, my computer is frozen, which is dead handy. I'll have to try and reset that. Handy Andy, tell me about Inoue, Andy, because Danny Young was in touch. He's talking about Inoue. He's coming to town, baby.
Yeah, I've seen some comments probably late on in the week actually, and I seen something for a sort of reliable source that said that Inoue was coming to Scotland, and a bit of a kind of erection moment to actually message the WBSS and say, listen, don't be fucking playing here. I mean, this is just too good to be true. A prime peak Inoue fighting in the UK. And then I think it was Callie Sörlin that actually maybe tweeted it on Saturday morning, possibly. There's a monster coming, and he's got like the wee emoji UK, British flag sign. So hopefully that's not like it's going to be like, say, London based or anything like that. But I think with this WBSS situation, I think, obviously we don't know what's really going on. This is all speculation and hearsay and that. And I suppose in this situation, you didn't really need it at this point. You need. I think what's going to happen. We had. It was looking like each of these fighters were going to be like headlining their own shows and stuff. But I'm sorry, I've been to 3 of these WBSS events and that, and not one have been sold out. Not one. And I would even count Riga in that. Riga was a great atmosphere. It maybe wasn't great to television, but it wasn't even fucking anywhere near full. The promotion's poor, so I think they're going to probably try and push some of these top level guys on the same card. So Taylor Branchik, we just don't know what's happening. The Branchik side seem to be saying they're no fighting, they're pulling out. I'm not sure how ironclad these contracts are, but I'll tell you one thing: if these contracts are ironclad, and Callie Sörlin is, I really don't know. Everything seems to be pointing towards Inoue coming to Scotland, and I just cannot wait, because I was saving up to go to Japan to go and watch him, actually, because this is just like a bucket list thing. I want to go somewhere different to go and watch a fight. But to have him come to Scotland, because by the time I get to go and see him in Japan, if possible, he could either be retired, he could be past his peak, he could be injury prone. But at this point in his career, to come to the UK, it'll be fucking amazing. Hopefully it's in Scotland, because if it's anywhere outside Scotland and that, I'm kind of struggling, because obviously I've got a new rival coming. But if it's in this country and that, I'm literally like 20 miles away from it, and it's something I just can't miss. I'm even going to take like 2-3 days off for it just to go. It's going to be fucking brilliant.
Yeah,
Konnichiwa.
Yeah, Editing King's in the chat, Ozzy, along with Rocco, Jason Chukwu, and all the boys. The Taylor Inoue card's happening. It's on.
Yeah, I've been told that as well. Basically, it seems like the World Boxing Super Series are doubling up on the cards now. No, it's a disappointing thing to see, isn't it? That in recent weeks we're seeing that basically the financially stricken, the broke, we're seeing people pull out. And I mean, after the first year, which was nigh on faultless, nobody could criticise it. The second year, it seems like investors that are putting in, we're not just talking, like 20, 30,000 pounds. We're talking hundreds of thousands, if not millions of pounds, dollars, whatever you want to call it. And we're seeing delays on dates. Now, I mean, fuck me. If Taylor Branchik is on, that's a great fight. If you're putting Inoue on there as well, Jesus Christ, it's a big show, and it's a big, heavily built show as well. But
get Smiley on there for his British title rematch as well against who's the guy that he got robbed off? Oh
no, it was Darryl Williams against
Darryl Williams. Sorry,
yeah,
Darryl Williams. Who's it? He's fighting Tom. Oh, what's his fucking name?
Zach Parker.
Zach Parker. Get that fight made next.
Fuck me. So I mean, you've got 3 decent fights there. The good fights, and competitive fights as well. So it's going to be interesting to see. But I mean, I'm told that's happening as well. So I mean, for the people of Scotland, bloody hell, they've got a huge double header in, and
woo, baby,
nobody can argue, can they? Nobody can argue. I just hope the Taylor Branchik fight follows through, and that where Branchik pulled out, it was literally a case of a miscommunication, and that the fact that it's all nailed on now, and the purses are lodged wherever, because I know people are pissed off that the win bonuses have not been paid yet. As long as all that gets sorted, then we're on for a great night. Otherwise, that as much as we've praised the World Boxing Super Series, if we're going to encounter financial problems, whilst it looks good on paper, again, it's a disappointment.
Yeah, the funds, hopefully they'll come to pass. Saudis, I think, were funding it last time as well. So, yeah, a lot of positivity about this. What about the positivity going on tonight, everybody? We're going to have to try and balance this out quickly. Someone put a dislike in the chat. Someone put a dislike.
Are you coming to see, this is the worst thing. The SNP are going to be hating and raging on this fucking fight happening, because all the English are going to come up north, and the SNP are going to be fucking raging at it, by the way. So just get up early in case you rebuild Hadrian's Wall beforehand.
What date are we looking at, Andy? Have you said that already?
18th of May, I think it is.
18th of May, right. Okay.
Hydro. So that will be 10,000. And to be honest, the last fight, Taylor against what was his
Martin.
Martin, sorry. And that wasn't even sold out, nowhere near sold out. I even ended up in the fucking better seats, actually, for my 40 quid. But,
Martin's balls and frigging bells might still be on the ring. They'll have to clean that off first before they get this next show made.
I'm going ringside for this one if it comes to pass. Like,
Andy's doing it, everybody. I think that's exciting. We're going to be talking about Leo Santa Cruz against Rafael Rivera very soon. I can see the chat exploding with that one. Rob, let's hit you with a threesome. A few deaths this week, unfortunately. Clark Sammartino, the judge, passed away. He infamously scored the Lee Haskins-Ryan Burnett fight to Haskins when he got confused over the two fighters. Also, Rocky Lockridge passed away, but on a positive note, Rob. Not going to talk about the crimes and such, but it's great to see Michael Nunn finally let out of prison.
Rest in peace to Rocky Lockridge. Absolute warrior. 80s fighter.
Rob, sorry, dude, but you said terrible would be an improvement.
All right, okay. I'll bow out for a second.
No problem. We'll bring you back in. We'll bring you back in on Michael Nunn in a minute. Let me know whenever you've headed for shelter or got underground or something. Right, hey to Dave.
He's breaking wind, isn't he?
Dave, I hate to do this to you, but I'm going to bring you in on the Microsoft Theatre fight next week. Cesar Juarez against Ryosuke Iwasa. I know you're pumped about that one. Also, the return of Omar Figueroa against John Molina, but especially, what about this one? Leo Santa Cruz, Rafael Rivera, WBA Super World Featherweight title, Dave. How can you contain your excitement, brother?
Makes you hard, man. Fucking yes.
Molina can win that if he boxes. I hope he boxes. Just stick out the jab. Omar walk into it all night. I think he can win that fight. We saw that he can box and he can stay disciplined for, I think it was 10 rounds against Provodnikov. I think Provodnikov's a lot better than shitty Figueroa, but whatever. Who else is on the card? Cesar Juarez. I vaguely remember him. Don't know anything about that Ishii Nanoa guy that he's fighting. And what was the third fight?
I don't know. You've dragged the life out of me, Dave. I can't even remember.
Oh,
I feel like phoning the Samaritans now, listening to you.
At least
David.
Iwasa was at least an ex-world title holder.
Did he lose to Doheny, or did he lose to the guy who lost to Doheny?
Yeah, that was the one. It was late last year. Doheny went to Japan and won it.
Yeah, there you go then. What do you think about that now, Dave? But you're not laughing now, are you?
Figueroa's still undefeated. Okay. Well, yeah. So
that's a fucking joke of a career, that one. By how the fuck is that still undefeated, man?
Molina's coming off smashing that red catch bitch.
Hugo Centeno's on the card as well. Fucking hell.
Why do we have to see Leo Santa Cruz if he's not going to fight someone good?
I know, it's just ridiculous. This is a replacement, though, Dave. He was supposed to fight Miguel Flores. The replacement might be better.
Oh, that would have been great. Okay. His replacement and Rafael and Miguel Flores should have fought each other. And Leo Santa Cruz can just fuck off. This card would be better without him on it, just taking up time. I see Ivan Redcatch is on the card as well against the...
He got iced off that Centeno. Was it Centeno he got fucking iced off? He's a fucking waste of space.
He lost to Tevin Farmer to show I was at once. I think it was one of the Frampton Santa Cruz undercards.
Is it Hugo Centeno? He's
no,
on the card.
Redcatch.
Oh, Red.
Racist. Do you remember, Dave? He was up for Belly of the Week because he was abusing. Who was it? Was it Hank Lundy?
Yeah, he put the picture of the
monkey
Harambe.
with the yeah.
How come
I see Javon Davis was calling himself an ape the other day or a couple of hours ago.
Yeah,
but that's his stick in it. That's his thing. Yeah.
That's his he always uses the little gorilla emoji. But I mean,
who's texting you, Dave? Who is this? Can you read this out on air? Let's get to the bottom of this.
I don't know.
It's Cindy sending them nudes. That's what it is.
That was my older brother. I don't know what.
Oh, your brother sending you nudes. What the fuck?
Here, Dave, there's a message coming for you. You ready?
Yeah.
Carl, just take your plastic nose and fuck off back to Poland, you fucking prick.
Was that
That's Mr. Time Booth.
Oh my God.
Ice with Twitter this week. Fucking hell, man.
What an iconic statement that one. Take your plastic nose and fuck off back to Poland.
he's not from Poland, is he? What?
Yeah, his heritage is,
Carol Frotch's heritage. I think his granddad's from like Poland or something like that.
He's from Nottingham, lad.
Right, let's move on, Dave. I hate to cut this short. You know, it is going on well. Andy,
There's Steve.
Steve muted himself.
You muted himself.
Against Lewis Ritson. He's defending against Marvin Petit in Belgium. We're not going to get to see it, are we? But it's interesting to see where Patera goes, because if he loses to Petit now, it tells us, something about Ritson, and it will be interesting to see how this fight goes.
Aye, quick turnaround as well. Obviously, I've no idea about Petit, another one of these French fighters coming through, but it's just we're on a decent winning record and that. So I noticed on another card. So that'll be interesting. So a couple of good fights for Belgium next week. I don't know if you want me to lay a reference to that German card, Wilbur.
Yeah, give us a shout, Andy, on that one, yeah.
Yeah, so some of you would have heard, I think it was last week, I was trying to remember a German fighter who I'm keeping one eye on, basically, and I've got real high hopes for. And it's Abbas Barau. He's 4-0. he went to the Olympics. I think he went to. It was the last Olympics he went to. I think he's got some WBSS experience in that as well. But he's fighting the kiddie fiddler Carlos Molina. Now, obviously, he fought in the UK against Josh Kelly, and I think he fought another Olympian as well for France, Suleiman Sissoko. So he's basically getting passed about really, just to kind of carry people rounds and that. So I think it's a good step up for Abbas. Also on that card as well, you got Leon Boone. He's fighting Victor Polakov. Sorry, how do you pronounce that fucking name? Polakov. Sorry. Yeah, he fought. Who's it? He fucking fought. It was, I forget the British fighter he fought, but he's fought Holskin, who fought Callum Smith, and Gavor as well. So decent step up for him. The German ball, two guys basically kind of step up here. Really high hopes for maybe potentially fighting for European title. Hopefully, I would say by the end of the year. Actually, that's how highly I rate the guy. Leon Boone, as I says, good step up for him. Tough opponent as well. And Ante Yiget as well, who's obviously coming back off that defeat against Branchik in the WBSS series and that as well. Was he lost the IBF title, so he's coming back into the fold as well. So a decent wee card in Germany next week, so worth keeping an eye on for that one as well.
That's Leon Boone, by the way, not Tyan Booth.
No.
Who's doing well sexually like Umar, IFL Umar.
Doing well sexually with his Battenberg cake. Women buying him Dysons. So brilliant and bizarre. You're a little bit better to sounding now, Rob. Do you want to say anything quickly about our favourite Michael Nunn?
I hope that Michael Nunn is going to come out of jail, stay on the right path, and do well sexually like Umar, IFL Umar, and Coogan.
Well said, Rob. Can't say any fairer than that. Shout out to Boxing Sauce in the chat, getting the likes going, including the dislikes. 29 up, 4 down. Thanks to everybody, disliking or liking. It's all about engagement, everybody. So even the dislikes are helping us. So thank you to you four as well. Much appreciated. Gabe, you wanted to talk about Leo Santa Cruz. God knows why. Please enlighten me.
I want to highly encourage everyone to watch every fight on this card and then promptly turn your television off before that fight goes. I hate that guy. I want him to get knocked the fuck starch out cold. If he did, that would be the only thing that would please me more than just seeing him get battered for 12 rounds and losing a horrible unanimous decision where he barely lands a punch. That's the two favorite things that I could possibly see happen. I've been the biggest anti-Leo Santa Cruz for the longest time. He's a duck. He's a chicken shit. He's a coward. I hope he gets pummeled, just absolutely fucking pummeled. It probably won't happen because he always fights trash and bums. But if it does happen, that would thrill me. I'd be tickled as a pig in shit. The rest of that card, though, is actually pretty. I mean, not terrible. But there's the other fight that I want to see is the like you guys already talked about, the Ryosuke Iwasa fight. He fought what is the guy's name a while back? This was a long time ago, actually, not a long time, like as in 20 years. But he fought Shinsuke Yamanaka several years back. It was a good fight, so I'm eager to see that one as well. And then I would also love to see Omar Figueroa get smashed to bits by John Molina. I don't like Omar Figueroa, and I do like John Molina. So this would be thrilling to me to watch that guy get smashed. I don't know, he's just a little smart-ass little prick. And I would be thrilled to watch him get smashed too. So this card for me has several opportunities to watch some of my biggest people that I just don't like get smashed. But I would encourage anyone that tunes into the card to turn it off before the Santa Cruz fight comes on, and they'll see the numbers. They'll see everyone turning their television set off during that fight. So that would thrill me bigger than anything to see him have terrible watch numbers and to see him get knocked the fuck out, which I'll just watch by replay later.
Gabe, one of your fans is sending a message to you in the chat here. He said, it's You Got Soul. I think he has previous form with you, Gabe. He says, does Gabe have mental problems?
Oh no, I don't. This guy must though. He sounds like a big, huge cunt. So if you let's go.
There we go. Right, let's move on, shall we? Ozzy, let's bring you in on this opportunity for Thomas Patrick Ward. It's coming in America. Where's the in Mulvane, wherever the hell that is? It's the USBA title or something, but I think it's an IBF title eliminator. We were talking about this, Ozzy, a few weeks ago when Dennis Hobson was sending out the press release. Thomas Patrick Ward, 25-0, done most of his business around British title level. He's going in against this American Jesse Angel Hernandez, and I'm looking at his record here. To be honest with you, Ozzy, haven't even heard of him. He lost a fight early on to an undefeated fighter, Ray Jimenez. He beat a 16-0 guy, Vladimir Tikhonov, in 2017. Apart from that, though, I think there's maybe some shoots of optimism for Ward because Hernandez doesn't look great.
For me, it's a winnable fight. I've just looked at the record now, and I agree with you, apart from the loss, which was against an 11-0 guy over 6 rounds, which I've not looked at his record, but okay. And then there was a non-decision in there. Tommy Ward's a decent boxer, a very good boxer. I mean, he was beating Jazza Dickens, and I think a bad cut coming the way. And I've seen him up in Newcastle and against Sean Davis. And the lad can box. The problem he's got is he can't punch. I think he's got, say, 19, 20 wins, 2 knockouts. And I always think when you get up to a certain level, you need to punch, even if it's just to keep people off you. You know, I'm not saying, you need explosive power, but as long as you can dig of some sorts, you can keep people off you. You're not getting smothered, etc., things like that. Tommy Ward, sadly, he doesn't have that. However, he's an excellent boxer and one I'm very impressed with. And I mean, he's 25-0. I've just looked at his record now, and he signed with Frank Warren, and then I don't think it really worked out. He did one fight up in his hometown, and it's going to be interesting to see. They've had some serious notice on this. I think relatively a full camp, probably 10 weeks. Lewis Ritson, he's part of this camp as well. He's actually in America now. So it shows how much notice they've got. It's not a last-minute fight. I would not be shocked to see Tommy Ward win this fight. This lad can box. He's won serious titles at amateur level. And as a professional, he's untouched at the moment. He's won everything at British level he can. Jazza Dickens, good fighter. I don't think he boxed at European level, but I wanted to see him at that. And then he's got this, I think it's an eliminator, this as well, this NABA USA Super Bantamweight title. I'm sure it's some sort of an eliminator. Otherwise, I don't really know what he's boxing for.
Yeah, it's the IBF eliminator, I think, Ozzy, isn't it?
I mean, I don't know what this NABA USA then.
It must be an IBF belt. You know the way they all have their sort of regional belts. I think it might be like an offset of the IBF, possibly.
Yeah. You must be right, Steve, because I'm sure it's some sort of. In fact, I'm adamant it's an eliminator. So it's a good fight for Tommy Ward. Yes, he has to go abroad, but he doesn't sell lots of tickets, so why not? But this kid can box. He's very good, and I would not. In fact, I'll back Tommy Ward on this quite comfortably, and I will not be shocked to see him walk away with a wide unanimous decision win.
Yep, I think Ward will do the business as well. Andrew Selby has confirmed March the 9th on Twitter. We were talking the other week about modern training systems, why the fighters of old didn't tend to gas, and former pod contributor Donny, rest in peace Donny, has sent in a message that was sent to him from Mickey the Greek, long-time listener, and he has responded. He says, to the Nuthouse Asylum podcast, now known as the Woolworths podcast or the Aldi podcast, we're available. In response to the question you posed a few weeks back, asking why do fighters these days gas opposed to fighters in the 40s, 50s and 60s, well, Mickey the Greek says, my answer is in 2 parts. The first being that these days sport technology has evolved and fighters do more high intensity and explosive training than ever. That, of course, flows into the ring and it seems every punch is explosive. However, the human body cannot sustain that for 12 rounds, no matter how much training you do. The second is that while the most lovable saying these days in boxing is there are no more teachers, it is not entirely false, says Mickey. Back in the so-called heyday of boxing, boxers were much calmer inside the ring and able to execute a game plan over 15 rounds. This, I think, was due to good teaching and learning to apply your mind to the ring. Now, the same philosophy is why today's fighters seem to gas. They are not fully trained to fight calm, and often the occasion and normal pre-fight nerves get them. What getting nervous does is burn energy, and if they have already burned their mental and physical gas tank, high intensity, blah, blah, blah. And Mickey goes on to say, watch Benny Briscoe versus Carlos Monzon. Both go for 15 rounds at the same pace. Both are calm and allowed to do much of what they did in the first as the last. Their training would have been long runs and gym routines that never went up in intensity. Hence, in the fight, it was the same pace throughout. That was a bit long, but I'm sure you're not too bothered about listening to it from Mickey the Greek there. He says, love the show, would love to come on at some point. You know, much respect, Mickey. So he's very welcome, Dave.
Those are good points there. So I had also been frustrated thinking about that question from a few weeks ago, this past week, because I remembered giving an answer, but not giving my best answer. And I think I've covered this before on other episodes. I've been covering this for years, actually. I've been bitching about it for years, more like. Weight cutting culture has increased since the old days. Guys used to fight, like, I mean, what was it? Henry Armstrong fought like in the 140s for the middleweight title, I believe. These guys fought at their walking around weights. Nowadays, you have guys trying to gain a size advantage. They're cutting weight like wrestlers, and it happens. It's even worse in the MMA world, I believe, because you got more wrestlers in that sport. But
yeah, they're cutting like 30 pounds in like 2 days and shit. It's crazy, man.
It's not healthy. It's not good for the sport. I think we'd have better fights and better fighters if more guys fought at their walk around weights. And I mean, just looking at the greats from today, like Floyd, Manny, these guys, Ward, these guys fight close to their walk around weights without significant cutting. They're not cutting like 20 pounds on fight week or something. They're healthy year round, and they're training and they're fit, and that's how a fighter ought to be, I believe. And that's, I believe, a big part of why fighters gas today is, I mean, also the fact that they're not being fit year round, and that half the training camp is
cutting weight.
Yeah, is cutting weight instead of training for the actual fight and sparring and all that.
Yeah, we're flitting back and forward between fights on next week and old questions and stuff, but that's just the way it's going to have to be, I'm afraid. I can't be bothered to stick to the narrative this week, Andy. Let's hit you with a question from Patreon subscriber, friend of the pod, Kaiser Koba. Going back in time, Andy, who would have won this epic battle? I think you got tagged in on this one as well. McGuigan or Nelson? Barry McGuigan or Azuma Nelson?
I'll go for Nelson. More rugged, relentless. I think if
Fucking
you can,
obviously.
I think as well as if you can hang and give the absolute best that you can give with like an all-time great Salvador Sanchez and only like something like your 12th or 15th pro fight. Yeah, I'm sorry. You know, Barry was great, but you know, Barry's prime was very, very short-lived. Obviously, there was issues outside the ring and stuff like that with the management and stuff. But no, I think if you look at Andy Zuma Nelson's record and that, as well as even up through the weights and stuff, Leha, oh man, the fights that he was in, he was relentless, great fighter. I just think he was outlasted, and the Africans were tough as fuck.
Did Barry duck him, Rob?
I think Azuma Nelson would have had the edge on Barry McGuigan. I think Barry McGuigan's big win against Pedroza was an aged Pedroza, even though it was an absolutely fantastic performance. Then there was I think a TKO win over Danilo Cabrera, 9th round stoppage. And then I think the next fight was the loss to Cruz. I know, like, it was such a bad decision to bring Barry fucking McGuigan to the desert to fight in the middle of the day against the Mexican.
At 4 p.m. in the afternoon,
holy shit! Like, and they're not even giving him water in the corner. Like, they never gave him a chance. So really, we didn't get to see how good Barry could have been. I think he was a great little fighter, but I do think he maybe got Pedroza at the right time, but he took his chance when he got it. Like, and but I just think Azuma Nelson would have been too much for him. Like, I think he might have even stopped him.
Bringing things back up to date, Aussie, I believe we did mention this briefly last week. I seem to remember asking Smido, talking about the Edward Gutneck thing, but tell me about George Groves' retirement, Aussie. A tear shed from yourself?
I wouldn't go as far as saying a tear shed, but what a career, and I think he single-handedly probably played a part in a big turnaround in British boxing in the Carl Froch 2 fight at Wembley Stadium. George Groves, what a fighter. He had his flaws, as every fighter does, came back from a heavy knockout defeat against Carl Froch, a loss against Badu Jack, and then he gets his world title win against bugger, what's his name?
Chudinov.
Yeah, Fedor Chudinov. And a great win as well. What a good stoppage. And then he obviously had a good win, but in the end, a disappointing defeat against Eddie Gutneck, from where, I mean, it retired, not just retired him, but fuck me, it pretty much put him in a coma and disabled for the rest of his life. But George Groves, a tremendous fighter. I mean, ringside, it had its flaws, but what a show it was from when George Groves, basically, in my opinion, humiliated Carl Froch. Because
James DeGale one was brilliant as well, mate.
Yeah, and the DeGale one. George Groves, excellent mentally as well. People
Yeah, he was good. He was a good.
Groves as well, as a boxer, was tremendous. I was a big fan of his, but mentally as well, he had it all there. And it wasn't just a case of saying things, like, do you remember he did the Rubik's Cube in, like, what was it, about 2 minutes and things like that? It was just little things, and he was tremendous.
He said he'd hit Froch with 2 right hands in the first round and came out with 2 right hands in the first round.
I'll tell you something as well. I'll throw it out there. My missus is a fan of him as well. In fact, she's seen him live twice. James DeGale and Paul Smith.
Do you remember, though, Ozzy, the DeGale lead up? Did they got him on the ringside as well? And DeGale just hung himself out to dry, and Groves just sat there and made a fool of himself, DeGale.
Do you remember they had a bet as well? I can't remember what it was, but they had a big bet, and Jimmy McDonnell was involved as well.
It was the full purse on the winner.
I think it was an interview with Sky just before it, and James DeGale and Jimmy McDonnell was like, "Yeah," and we all know what it means. George Groves, he swerved the bet. Well, what happened? George Groves,
and that completely changed James DeGale's career. He had to change his whole persona, go back to fighting on small shows. Like, it just George Groves' career is a kind of an example of margins in sport, isn't it? Like, he beat DeGale by a slim margin. DeGale's career changes.
I respected DeGale for the way he came back after that.
He was the bad guy. He was the bad guy, though, wasn't he? Do you remember? He got booed and everything. He was the bad guy, DeGale, going into that.
He went abroad and won the European title.
Yeah, I was going to say, didn't DeGale win the European title the first fight back after the George Groves defeat? Now, it would have been easy to come back against some, like Nomar, but fair play to DeGale on that. He stepped up and he won the fight. But in terms of George Groves, what a career he had. I mean, he was with Adam Booth, and I mean, he went into the biggest fight of his life with Paddy Fitzpatrick in the corner. I mean, in reality, who the fuck is Paddy Fitzpatrick? And George Groves probably put in the performance of his life against Carl Froch, and I mean, we'll always talk about it, but what a horrendous stoppage by Howard Foster. The second fight, I mean, there was no two ways about it. It was extremely close on the cards. I think I had Groves winning personally. I was at the Wembley show. But after that, I mean, God, the stoppage, there was no two ways about it. The Badu Jack, it was a split decision by Jack clearly winning the fight. But he kept going. It would have been easy to retire. He clearly earned a lot of money, and I think George Groves has been a part of the huge boom in British boxing, and he will be he'll be a loss, and it'll be sad to see him go, in my opinion.
Andy, it's sad to see him go, but one person who's not sad to see him go is Carl. So are you ready for this?
Carl, just take your plastic nose and fuck off back to Poland, you fucking prick.
Brilliant. Yeah, listen, I've always say is my missus is like, she watched ringside that night with DeGale, and she fucking hated DeGale, so she sat and watched the fight with me live that night, and she was glad that DeGale won. Groves won the fight. But I always remember Kenny Anderson. It was on the undercard, the David Hay against Audley Harrison fight.
Oh yeah, he nearly got stopped by Anderson.
Yeah, I was going to say Anderson. By the way, I remember seeing him at the weigh-in, and Groves is wearing this shitty, stupid fucking Trilby hat on, and Anderson just walks in, flicks the hat right off his head, sticks a head in him, fucking pushes him and saying, "You're fucking getting it, right?" Well, he almost got it. 5th round, Groves is like, oh, at sea, he's winging shots all over the place. Anderson clips him. Anderson back in the day he was a nasty fucking puncher, and he could fucking fight when he wanted to.
He was a big puncher, I was told from people who sparred with him.
I'm telling you.
He had no gas tank though.
Yeah, that's the thing. No discipline. That was a big problem. But Kenny could fucking punch, by the way. Yeah, and he came back in the next round and he stopped him. I can always be thankful that I was ringside, literally 2 rows for seeing Paul Smith getting absolutely fucking knocked the fuck out. in 2 rounds and at Wembley Arena the night that Burns beat Katsidas. Great night that. Glenn Johnson, obviously, Glenn Johnson was always good to fucking carry people 12 rounds. Carl Froch could knock him out. We've mentioned the Froch fights naturally. Who else we got? Jack. That was a close competitive fight. A lot of punishment taken in that fight as well. And then for there on in, De Luis, Brophy, Martin Murray. Martin Murray doesn't let his hands go. You could see the Gutnick fight, for example. He laid a beat on that guy, right? And it was a 12-round kind of punch up and stuff. You could maybe, if you wouldn't have blamed him whatsoever in his next fight against Chudinov, who again alone took a lot of punishment in that fight, 6 rounds. If Groves decided to kind of lay off and start carrying that fight 12 rounds and stuff like that, you wouldn't have blamed him for it. But then I met him in Belfast, probably mid 2017 before Jamie Cox fight, and I says to him, he was with his wife at the time, I says, whatever you do, mate, just fucking knock out Jamie Cox. And true to his word, he delivered, and he stepped up again and basically exposed the fraud that's Chris Eubank Jr. The shoulder, obviously an issue. I think at that point as well as he's a lot of miles on the clock. Okay, he's not had a lot of fights per se. He's only had like 32 fights, but a lot of damage in some of those fights. De Gale cut in that fight. You've got the mental problems off the Gutnick fight. You've had the fucking tough fight with Jack. You've been in 2 wars with Carl Froch. Well, 1 war and 1 more kind of like more technical fight, I suppose. He's had a great career. I think we can look back in his career with some great pride. Callum Smith, I just think that fight will always kind of hang over me. I always believed they had the beating of him, but he was just at this point mentally, physically, just wasn't the same fighter. Even is he 30, 32-year-old, whatever he is. I don't know what age he is, but he's probably kind of in ring years, very, very old. Big guy for the weight. Drained himself a number of times to try and make that weight division. So you just never know, the physicality, the mental. And probably in the end, cutting the weight, just in the end, just kind of sorted him. But no, he had a great career, and I think he'll go down as probably this generation's one of the better fighters this generation, shall we say?
Go on, Ozzy. Final comment to you before we move on.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that, picking up from Andy. I thought the stoppage of Jamie Cox, and what we've got to remember is that Jamie Cox got into the World Boxing Super Series as this horrendous, like elite puncher, like what Matthew built him up to. And George Groves single-handedly dealt with him with a tremendous body shot. He then went in as the underdog, which is surprisingly, in my opinion, that against Chris Eubank Jr., people were tipping him to get stopped. And I had him absolutely schooling him. And I had him losing. I think from memory, I had Groves losing 2 rounds. The 12th was one of them, and that was when he dislocated his shoulder, and that was literally because he was a one-arm man against fucking Eubank Jr. is naturally a fit guy. But I think the shoulder injury really did ruin George Groves. I mean, they managed to get some sort of delay on the fight against Callum Smith, but I don't really believe he was fully fit. I'm not taking anything away from Callum Smith whatsoever. Callum Smith, he weathered the storm against George Groves, but he took advantage of. I mean, it was a tremendous stoppage. I'm not taking anything away, but I don't believe George Groves is fully fit. But what a career he had, and in my opinion, he will be missed. He was excellent in and out of the ring. I believe he's still staying involved with the boxing side as well from a management perspective, and I think he'll do some punditry as well because he's excellent at that. And yeah, like I say, I agree with Andy. He was tremendous as a fighter, and George Groves, he will be missed.
Certainly will. Yeah, he strikes me as someone who's got his head on his shoulders, probably done a bit of investing and stuff. Gabe, what should I do with you? What shall I do with you, indeed? That's the question, isn't it? Right, Friday the 15th of February.
Ask him about the Grand Wizard's comments.
No, I'm not going there. Not going there.
What about the Maidana comeback?
Oh, yeah, well...
Hey,
we're only talking about Google Hangouts tonight, Andy. No other hanging. Yeah, we'll talk... Do you want to... I'll tell you what, Rob. No, I'm getting mixed up here, Gabe. I'll tell you what I'm going to do with you, Gabe. I'm going to give you an option. You can either talk about the Madonna comeback, or you can talk about the ESPN Plus card next Friday night, Rob Brandt against Kassan Baysangorov.
I ain't talking about that shit. I will talk about Madonna. So, this was a guy that I watched before his HBO.
Better not be for cash, man, please.
What's that?
It can't be for the cash, please. I hope he's not come back for the cash. I think he's bored. He's got to be bored. It can't be for money.
I think he is. I don't know though. He seems like he spent large whenever he left boxing.
Whatever he's eating, he's spending anyway.
Well, goddamn, he must be eating ribeye steaks and prime rib every night or something. He packed it on fast. Look, this was a guy that was always entertaining. If you watched his earliest fights, which you can still find a lot of places, YouTube, so on and so forth, from Argentina, I think there's maybe only 2 or 3 fights that he had that maybe weren't televised. A lot of them weren't televised again here in the States, but you can find a lot of his stuff. So this is a guy that if you watched him, you saw him early on just knocking people out. So he's always had power. He always had a little bit more boxing ability that people gave him credit for. You know, I think it really started whenever he got with Robert Garcia out in Oxnard. People started saying, well, this guy, he's starting to learn some wrinkles and add some things to his games. And if you watched his whole career develop, there was some things that he was doing earlier on when he was fighting out in Germany, and he fought Andre Kotelnik, which is a name from a while back, for his first world title shot. You saw those fights, and you saw a progression, and you saw a guy that always had these abilities to fight well and box well. And then he had some trouble with trainers, so on and so forth, that he trained with the late trainer of Marco Barrera, Mr. Rudy Perez, who I thought was a phenomenal trainer. Trained Israel Vasquez for the Rafael Marquez fights, or 1 or 2 of them anyway. But he had trouble with trainers, couldn't stick with a trainer for a while. And so it was a really interesting case to me to watch him come through, because this was a guy that again, I watched from some of his earlier fights and develop all the way through. And so to me, it was always fun to watch him. And this is a guy like I felt, again, like I'd seen a lot of his career. And for him to leave the way he did, I think was great. You know, he made his money. He made his tons of cash. You know, people always talk about the Floyd money, but he won a lot of money, or he made a lot of money in his previous fights before that as well, because a lot of them were televised. They said he was a big draw. So I don't really imagine that he's coming back for money. I just think he's probably tired of being bored. I mean, there's only there's only so much whiskey you can drink and so much cigars you can smoke, but Andy could probably counter that argument. But I'm interested to see it happen, just to see what he looks like. You know, I think if he trains, I don't know how easy it'll be for him to get down to 147. I think at minimum, absolute bare bones minimum, he'll be able to get down to 154, and that would be it seems like a stretch to get down that low. I mean, he really ballooned up so much. But I'm interested to see that. So I was excited to hear the news a little bit apprehensive about it too, because I don't necessarily want to see him come back after such a long layoff. You know, this was a guy that was always beatable. Not going to be an easy beat, but he was always beatable. And so to see him come back now is kind of curious. I'm kind of excited from a fan point of view. But then again, I'm kind of, from things that we've seen with guys at long layoffs and blown up in weight like he has, it just doesn't seem like it bodes well for him.
Here, Gabe, something's just occurred to me. What about this then? Marcos Madonna returning against Jorge Barrios, returning all Argentinian slugfest up at 154.
Sorry, I couldn't get my unmute to work.
I'll go with that one because
go ahead.
I agree with what Gabe was saying. There's no way he's going to come back, and conceivably, under no circumstances, will he make 147 ever again. I mean, the guy's been out the ring for too long. He has lived a good life. He's been drinking my finest whiskey, Macallan Fine Oak. Guy's just, a fucking legend. Career pre-Broner was good. The night after Broner, legend. Post-retirement, absolute fucking demigod, right? The guy did the good thing. I'm praying pray to whoever your God is, whoever it is. I don't give a fuck who it is, but I hope he'll come back for the money. I think he's bored. I think if he comes back, he's going to fight at middleweight. And maybe have a few ham and eggers there. I'm not even going to throw out any names there and stuff like that because you just don't know what he's. How long's he been in the ring for now? 4, 5 years must be. So
it's more even. I think
it must be. It must be. But no. As I say, he's made his money. He's clearly he's bored and stuff like that. So if he's going to come back, fair and well. But I didn't want to see him like say getting tuned up, for example. I didn't want to see a Broner rematch at 168 or 175 in like 5 years' time when Broner's washed up and looking for a handout and stuff. But no, I was a wee bit sad to see the news. Not overly surprised. Again, as I say, a guy who's had it all, out the ring for 5 years, lived a good life. Maybe just want a bit of juice.
I'd echo that. Like, I think it has to be a money thing, though. I think it looks like he's been spending. And these guys, like sometimes in Latin American countries, they go back and they're the hometown hero and they'll treat everybody, and then all of a sudden, like the money's dripped away. Like, so I could easily see that he's coming back from the money.
Pacquiao in the Philippines handing the cash out for medical bills and all that stuff.
Exactly, but just on his boxing career, like
Duran as well.
Yeah, similar. Like so, but Maidana, man, like absolute legend. Echo everything Andy said. Like, I love Maidana. Like, I absolutely love him. Like, I think, I like defensive fighters, but he's a certified goonie. Like, he's always been coming forward, always trying to break you up. I think Joe Cortez could have got a bottle of whiskey off of Amir after that fight because he kept him off him that time when he had him going. Like, and he got up from a savage liver shot in that fight as well. Like, he was a barbarian. And his performance in the first fight against Floyd, absolutely brilliant. Yeah. Brilliant. Brought it to him for the whole fight. And whipping Broner's ass was just fucking magnificent. And especially when he turned him around and humped him in the corner. Yeah. That was just one of the greatest moments in sport history. Like.
Can I just I'd echo those sentiments actually, because Broner actually Chino delivered a early Christmas present for me actually, because the night that he beat Broner, I had to go Christmas shopping. I've said this before in the pod. I had to go Christmas shopping with my gran and the wife and the bairn, and I was hungover like you would not believe. But I swear to God, I had the biggest smile the whole day. I sat in the cafe shop, and all I could wait for was like, I can't wait to get home and go on the podcast because Broner, you are fucking getting it. I honestly, it was the best moment. It was the best weekend ever. To see him getting fucking ice like that was brilliant. And then it just like wish your life away. Just wishing your hours so I can go on the podcast to discuss how that wee little rat got absolutely owned. It was tremendous. Fucking brilliant. I've seen that fight so many times. I tell you what, all the fighters that I watch, right? I watch quite a few Duran fights. You've got your era, you've got your fighters who you watch. You've got like Lamotta Robinson, maybe watch that, or Ali Fraser 3. But see that fight, for the modern era, I always stick that fight on. It's fucking brilliant. And it added that wee bit of controversy as well as when, like you say, Alex Ariza's getting Chino with that little, brilliant. It was like that. Oh, that'll do me. And all the flow-mos were at the top of that. It was fucking brilliant.
Well, before that in his career, you could think like that he's always fleshy around the midsection. And then when he went with Garcia and Ariza, he was in much better shape, we'll say. But like, yeah, man, what a guy! Like,
remember the weigh-in?
It's one of our greatest pods of all time.
That's what I wanted to say. Yeah,
I'm going to go back to listen to that, but I remember the weigh-in, and Chino's holding like the gun fingers at Broner's head during the weigh-in for the pictures and stuff like that, and you can see Broner got that face, that kind of like, you remember it?
Yeah, I do. Andy, the best bit for me was whenever Broner done like he's pretending to shag him early on in the fight, and then whenever Madonna had taken over, he done the reverse on him, and the crowd went absolutely wild. They loved
brilliant.
it.
Me and my dad watched that together, right? And I swear to God, right, I'm a fully grown man, and the two of us hadn't celebrated together like that since fucking Ireland got out of the fucking beat Romania in the penalty shootout with Packie Bonner saying fucking penalty in 1990. We were fucking jumping around the sitting room. That was brilliant. I thought they were going to hose him that night, even with the knockdowns.
It was after the fight though. When Chino walked up to him and started to pretend to brush his hair like he's doing his pops and stuff like that. It was fucking brilliant.
Right, Ozzy, come on in, Ozzy.
I was going to say that he manhandled Adrian Broner, and I mean he absolutely destroyed him. But I think what I want to say is it highlights the win of Amir Khan as well. that the way he dropped Broner, Maidana with that liver shot was a terrific shot, and it's rare you saw Maidana go down like that as well. But I don't want to see him come back. In my opinion, he shouldn't even be sanctioned. I mean, God, what's he up to now? 16, 17 stone. What's he going to come back at? His last competitive fight was Floyd Mayweather in 2014. We're in 2019 now, in February. Say it takes him, 6 months to get the weight off at least. We're going into the back end of the year then. I don't want to see him sanctioned. In my opinion, he should not be allowed to fight again. But this is the problem. Like Rob said, the cash is drying up. And he thinks, right, I can come back now. But fuck me, what is he going to do now? Like everybody said, he's ballooned up so much. I mean, he's posed with pictures of fucking food and huge wads of cash. But for me, it's a health hazard, in my opinion, regardless of what he can take. Like I said, you balloon up to 16, 17, 18 stone. He's a fucking fat pig now. He could box at heavyweight. That's what it's saying it is. For me, he should not be sanctioned. And I want to remember Marcos Maidana for what he did against Floyd Mayweather, Adrian Broner, like I said, in fights with Amir Khan, etc., things like that, not coming back, literally for a paycheck, boiling down to a weight that he physically cannot make anymore.
Yeah, Felix Trinidad is another one who spent all his money, pissed it away back in Puerto Rico. They were talking about him coming back. That's another comeback I don't want to see. I like Trinidad in his prime. He was an excellent fighter. Don't need to see him back. So, and he made a lot of money. He made a hell of a lot of money. So I don't.
Steve, when did you see this shit?
This was last year, Gabe. At some point, someone said that he'd pissed away like millions of dollars, like $12 million or so.
I did see that. I didn't ever see anything about him coming back.
Well, maybe they'd put two and two together and thought, well, where's he going to make his money? But nothing. I've heard nothing since. But he's pissed his money away, from what I was told.
Yeah, I read about that. I think it was. I don't remember if it was him or if it was someone else. There was another. Maybe it was Ivan Calderon, the
Iron
smaller guy too, out there in Puerto Rico. Didn't pardon me. Didn't do real well with his money. Something weird with drugs or something. I don't know if they found drugs in some property that he owned, or I don't want to be going too far down that road or talking shit about something I'm not aware of. But it seemed like there was another. I think that was who it was. Something about his property was gone, and then with Tito, they said that he had a like a financial planner or somebody that took advantage of him. But it all amounts to the same thing. If somebody else blows your cash, then you're the one that blew it.
Yeah, been taken advantage of, maybe by Donny, who knows. Let's try and get him back on the pod. I'm going to throw this last question out to the panel, and anybody can comment if they wish. It was sent in by Men's Luxury Fitness. He said, is Rob McCracken the best person to head up Team GB Boxing? Still, given that he earns millions a year from AJ, is he greedy to keep a stranglehold over Team GB? If he gets the full 10%, for example, is it even ethical for him to have the highest paid job in British amateur boxing too, given that he has such disproportionate earnings from the pro game? Does this mean he can really prioritise Team GB during the 6 months a year AJ is in camp? Who is he thinking about more over those 6 months, AJ or Fraser? There are pros and cons. I don't know the answer, but it's a good question. It is a good question, sir. Anybody want to comment on that? Ozzy, maybe you?
Yeah, we're looking at Anthony Joshua now. What's he had out the ring? 6 months. Is Rob McCracken spending 6 months with him? I'm not too sure. But at the same time, Rob McCracken, he's done a hell of a lot for Great Britain boxing. Who would you replace him with? I'm not too sure. I'm not that knowledgeable in that level, from where people knock around in the amateur game. To say that McCracken should walk away from his Great Britain job, I'm not too sure. We're not saying, he's dominated by, like 5, 6, 7 fighters who he looks after. He looks after Anthony Joshua. Now, he's not going away to look after Anthony Joshua. He looks after Joshua at the Sheffield base, where all the GB stars are, men, women, etc. And whilst, from what I've seen, McCracken is the face of it, there must be 5 or 6 head trainers there that look after people. Richie Woodall does a lot there as well. People forget about that. So, in my opinion, I don't think that Rob McCracken should walk away. Why should he? He's got one professional fighter that boxes twice a year, in my opinion. I don't think he should walk away, regardless of the levels that Josh... Now, if it requires him, like leaving, for example, the GB camp for 4 months for a camp, I'm not saying for a camp, but, Joshua wants him away, then, yeah, we can question that. But whoever has a 4-month camp, nobody. So, in my opinion, I don't see what McCracken is doing wrong. He's earning a living like anybody else would. And as long as he's putting in the time and the effort that he was expected of when he took the job as GB, as well as working alongside Anthony Joshua, then it should be absolutely fine.
Yeah, the chat seemed to agree with you, Ozzy. Phil John says McCracken deserves every penny. Richie Good too. Editing King says Rob's a quality trainer, only got the one pro to look after. Jason Chuckweir is in the chat as well. He's not mentioning this, but I just wanted to give him a shout out. He's talking about rap albums at the moment. Maybe you could get stuck in on that one, Rob. And a final question to you of the week. It's from Patreon. It's our friend Chris, new Patreon subscriber. He says, welcome over at patreon.com/Boxing Asylum. What's the panel's thoughts, Andy, especially from you, on Monzon versus Ketchel? How does this play out, he says. This is an interesting one, isn't it, Andy? Monzon was obviously around a few decades after Ketchel. Ketchel, turn of the century type of stuff, real character. Wasn't he shot dead by someone's, his lover's husband or something?
I think he was training for a fight and he got involved with some farmer or something like that he was staying on, I'm pretty sure. And
the guy stepped to him. The guy stepped to him and Ketchel beat him up. Yeah.
So basically, you know, saying, the two things that always go: champion and pussy.
Yeah.
Right. So
he was shot in the back as well, wasn't he? I think he was shot in the back.
Yeah. So bit of a curly act here, basically. Yeah. So we're talking about like a fight between these two.
Yeah, hypothetical fight. Chris has said Carlos Monzon against Ketchel.
I've got to go Monzon purely because size. I thought Monzon was a bigger fighter, certainly size-wise. Height, length, good boxer. Ketchel, for all intents and purposes. You look at his career. Okay, Ketchel fought in an era where, shall we say, it was unrefined, but he still fought. If you look at his record, really break it down. That guy fought everybody. I think guys like Frank Klaus, who fought Harry Greb, I think it was. Billy Papke's a name that comes to mind as well. I might have fought him numerous times.
Didn't he step up to fight Jack Johnson at heavyweight?
Aye, it was like the old saying was apparently Ketchel knocked Johnson down, and Johnson says, "What the fuck's going on here?" So he gets up, first punch, and next minute knocks out Ketchel, and Ketchel's front teeth are sitting in the glove, Johnson's right hand.
Yeah, that's iconic footage. You can see it. Johnson lands the shot and then just brushes off his glove they say he brushed that knockout. But that was supposed to be an exhibition. They were supposed to be having a move around because Ketchel was a middleweight. Ketchel saw an opportunity and fucking landed one on Johnson, decked him. Johnson got up and was like, all right, man. And put him to sleep. But yeah, what a guy. I think Ketchel would have beaten Monzon for the record just off fucking.
I think so.
Yeah, just off fucking pure. If you go up and box an exhibition against Jack Johnson, I think you have a chance against Monzon. And I think that guy that shot him should go down in the Hall of Fame, because if I come home and some middleweight's at the missus, I'm not going to try and fight him. I'm going for the hammer. You know what I mean?
Are you pulling the hammer back, baby?
I don't know. I can't say I've seen a lot of Ketchel. I've only read things about him, but Monzon I thought was quite not underrated, Andy, obviously, because he was an excellent fighter. Yeah, underappreciated. That's exactly perfect. I think he was very, very effective. He was tall, wasn't he? He would lean back away from the shots. I'd say he'd be a handful for anybody.
Listen, mate, I'll be honest with you. He would beat any middleweight in this era right now. He would beat Canelo. I'm telling you right now. He would beat Canelo. He's an all-time great. I would need to say is he's Arsenal a punching. He could hit with power. He was very clever. He was very, very well coordinated. He had power in each fist. He'd never been knocked out or knocked down that I can recall. You could look at his career. You could say it's very modest. Is probably the right word to say. A couple of losses. I think it was early in his career. But after that, he stepped it up, and he never, never lost a fight. He fought Benny Briscoe a couple of times, Nino Benvenuti, Danny Moyer.
Who was the guy who moved up from welterweight to fight?
Emil Griffith.
Ah, there was
Griffith.
another one. There was another one there, wasn't there? The guy who fought
Napoli's.
John H. Tracy, Napoli's.
Jose Napoli's, yeah.
He's
he
too
knocked
small. Yeah, he's too small.
But well, I suppose if you want to go about names on his record, I would need to say his best name on his record was Emil Griffith, who, okay, he was a welterweight coming up, but I think he fought him twice, and Griffith was a great fighter, welterweight man. That guy he fought them all. Rodriguez, the guy that called him the Queer Hawk a few times. Oh, what's his name?
Parrott,
Benny Parrott. The guy fought everybody. And just the last distance with a guy like Monzon. Probably class is definitely top 5 middleweight of all time.
Oh man, the chat is on fire tonight, Andy. Some
What's happening now? Like?
They're having a go at poor old Chukwu, man. It's I'm not happy with it, to be honest.
Well, as long as you're keeping it clean, just call him a big dummy or something. Don't go crazy in the chat.
Listen, I'm not reading the twat. I'm reading the chat. Sorry, I'm not reading the chat because I told you last week. If you don't behave, you're gonna get the podcast banned. If that's your intention, you've got no right to fucking complain, no right to moan. So shut the fuck up, play nice, and listen.
Just try to do well sexually like Umar.
Yeah, Chukwu is not doing very well sexually here, but apparently, according to You Got Soul, Chukwu is very popular in the gay Nigerian underground scene. So I've heard. Someone else says Chukwu is Harvey Price's real father. I don't really know what that means, but they're going for it tonight, Osley.
You know what Harvey Price is, Steve?
What?
Katie, I've just
Harvey Price is?
No, I don't. I was thinking of Harley Ben. I have no idea.
Where have you been for the past 5 years? Everybody knows Harvey Price is.
I know, but
Dwight York's young fella.
Oh, right, okay.
You know Katie Price, Jordan.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah, Katie Price.
That is the Harvey Price.
Oh, that young fella. Right, okay. Oh, that's not very nice, then, really.
Katie Price, the one that's had more prick in the second-hand dartboard.
She's wanting to send him into a residential home now because he's 24 stone and he's giving her a nightmare. She said, "He's giving me a nightmare. I get rid of him."
Rob, have you know what he's been doing? He's been smashing like 6 iPads a week and things like that. Basically not people out and things like that. So.
Are you talking about this Price or Chukwu?
No,
Chukwu.
Well, we know there's a comparison between them, so I'll leave it to the listeners.
What's that? I'm assuming that Chukwu's come back for Canadian ICU, yeah?
I'm not going down that road. Right, let's go on to Bellew of the Week. Let's take us into less libelous territory, maybe. Right, have you got any Bellew of the Weeks in the chat?
Eric Slubin.
Oh yeah, I've got that one, Andy. Don't worry, we're coming to that one. Better remind everybody who's still on the call. I know Dave the Hater Lowback's still with us, although he's disappeared off somewhere. Rob Kelly, Ozzy, Gabe's with us as well, Andy Patterson. Everybody's having a good time in the chat. Everybody sober in the chat. You all right in there? Everybody, are you? Marco Barrera, Stocko, Jason Chukwu, Dave Tricks, all the usual. Oh, there's Matty. Matty Digialanardo's in the chat, Andy. He said, what's he talking about? I don't know. We should get him on the pod. Get him on the call, man.
What chat?
He's in the YouTube chat according to this. Matty? Yeah.
Where is he? I didn't see him.
Marty DG?
No, it's Marty, not Matty.
All right, but doesn't he go by the two? Because Gabe calls him Marty.
It's not him, no.
Is that not him, no?
No, it's not him.
Okay, so...
No, Marty doesn't deal with us.
Apologies, everybody.
Matty's trying to overpower fucking... what do you call him?
Trump.
Trump, aye. You're hearing the news. He's phoning like CBN... NBSN or what you fucking call that shit. All that acronyms that you've got for that fucking TV stations in that fucking country, man. It's unbelievable.
Right, let's get the only acronym we need is about BOTW, Andy. Michael Benson, the first one. Although Michael Gearty has thrown this one in. Anthony Yard has said Sergei Kovalev regained the WBO world title over the weekend with a strong performance. But as far as I'm concerned, says Yard, he's just holding the belt. Him holding the belt is a temporary arrangement, and it will be in my hands before too long. I think he must be planning on Kovalev maybe dropping it or losing it or something, because I don't think Yard's going to go in with him anytime soon. Chad Hogan has nominated Vanis Martirosyan. I am retired from boxing thanks to Don King, says Vanis. I have much more to give. I'm not getting any younger, blah, blah, blah. As Brian rightly says, Bellew of the Week for signing with Don King and thinking it would have turned out any other way.
Hey, you should
Vanis.
go ahead and note that he had to send out like 3 fucking tweets to get that message across because it was like you couldn't understand if he was saying thank you to Don King, like as in thank you for helping me out, or like I'm quitting because Don King's an asshole, like sarcastic thanks to Don King.
I think we can make our own assumptions there, Gabriel.
Well, yeah, you should because there was people in the original post that he sent that he tweeted out, and they were asking the exact same question because nobody could understand what the fuck he was trying to say.
Maybe Demetrius Andrade beat him silly. Boxing Brave has also nominated Anthony Yard. Boxing Boy 84 has nominated James McIntosh. If Eddie Hearn sorts out Dillian White versus Dominic Breazeale, plus Joe Parker versus Derek Chisora, and Dave Allen versus Lucas Brown, all on the same card. Wow, what a pay-per-view night that will be. Some big knockouts coming. There seems to be this culture sprung up now where people are desperate for pay-per-views. We're getting fights, and you'll see another Bellew of the Week coming out later, where there's fights been made. It's not pay-per-view, and people are trying to put a card together to make it pay-per-view. Such a bizarre culture that's going on. But anyway, we'll get to that soon. Chris Eubank has been nominated by Giancarlo. Gareth Mitchell asked the great one, how much focus does it take to win the lottery? And Chris Eubank came out with an interesting story. I won the lottery in 1984 at 18 in New York City. I got 5 out of 6 numbers and should have won over $100,000. The guy in the grocery store said, it's 5 numbers and the payout is $25. And naive me took it, says Chris. If he didn't cheat me, I would have lost my focus to make world champion 6 years later. God is good, says Eubank. So I think, is that in the never happened category, Andy?
Exactly. That is like absolute fucking pish category, by the way. Stop smoking the fucking crystal, by the way. Fuck's sake.
Lottery winner and former world champion Chris Eubank Sr. there. Bradley Lobo has nominated Robert Battelle. Seeing an emotional Eddie Hearn showing so much love for Tony Bellew makes you think, how could you boo that man? What a fight. Gutted for the bomber. That was Robert Battelle, recorded after Usyk lost to Bellew. Steve Bunce has been nominated by Declan Graffin, but they had a bit of a grapple, bit of a 1-2 during the week. He was talking to Declan Graffin, was tagging in Buncey for talking about Diego Magdaleno, Teofimo Lopez, at the end, the way he was taunting him and all that. And Declan suggested it was because Lopez had the piss ripped out of him by Magdaleno about his mom and all that type of stuff. And you can't talk shit and not expect nothing in return, said Declan. Buncey was tagged in on this and he jumped at you. Get real, you fool. Standard abuse. Your mother this, your mother that, said Buncey. What are you, 7? Dopey fool. Go watch wrestling, idiot. Buncey going in under.
You would think Buncey, with his life experiences and travel and stuff like that, would know that you just, in certain quarters of the world, probably including our society as well, you didn't abuse certain people's parents, mothers, fathers, all that type of shit, especially the Hispanic community, because to them, family is absolutely everything, right? And Bunce is like, stop being stupid and stuff like that. Listen, Bunce flows with the wind. Bunce is a fucking snide. Bunce is the one who came to people like you and I and Tommy to give him a fucking leg up. Bunce is now the one on BT and BBC fucking podcasts, getting paid, not giving a fuck about people who actually gave him a leg up. So Bunce, fuck you.
Andy does make various good points there as usual. Yeah, Steve, after Satanta went folded, there was a big campaign, bring Buncey back, and they had these shows all around the country. They came over to Belfast and I went to one, and there was one in England, and I think a load of them had to get canned because nobody went to them. But there was a campaign from the so-called internet trolls to bring back Buncey. Paddy Cronin was involved, a guy called Stuart Longcount as well. So, and now I suppose these people are of no use. Buncey's done me a leg up in the past. He's had me on his BBC show. To be fair to him, I have to give both sides, but he was going in on Declan a bit rough, I think, Andy, because you are right. I mean, as stupid as it is, and I think as possibly immature to fight people over your mom, cusses and all this type of stuff, like you say, cultural context over in these type of countries, sometimes there is, hot-blooded maybe, and it is taken on a lot more. They do take that personally.
Well, exactly. I mean, can you imagine if so-and-so says something about someone's wife? We've just seen a fucking so-called boxer in the UK get banned for Twitter because asking the question, should that fighter have a fat wife? Well, wait a fucking minute. Said fucking fighter just happens to be Terence Crawford, who, by the way, would light your arse up, fucking burn you in petrol and just walk away, letting piss off you in the fire. Bunce is a weird one, and I think Bunce knows his boxing, right? I'm not trying to turn us into like some sort of kind of lay the boot in and stuff like that, because Bunce continually lays the boot into us. Continually does. But we kind of leave him to do his own fucking bits and pieces and stuff. He's never forgave me for saying to him or asking the question as to how many sugars Colin Murray takes in his tea when Tony Bellew phoned into the fucking podcast one day. But he just needs to fucking calm it a bit. There's a bit of mental instability there. We saw what happened when Ben Jacobs broke the story about Guillermo Jones failing the drugs test literally 2 hours before he fought Dennis Lebedev in the rematch. But what happened? Bunce came on there, you're trying to destroy us and you're just talking shite. What happens when the fucking live broadcast went out? Steve Bunce within the first 30 seconds says, tonight's fight has been called off because of failed drugs test. From that point on, I always looked at Bunce far, far differently for some odd reason. I can just say this, by the way. Steve Bunce, you're the only person that I know within the boxing community who spoke that much shit, it cost you a house. I'll leave it at that.
Leave it at that, says Andy. Brian King hasn't left it at anything. He's jumped in here on Ryan Scalia. On his podcast, Ryan Scalia predicted that Teofimo Lopez will beat Lomachenko next year. Hashtag Teofimo Express.
I told you last week, actually, I want to see that fight this year, and I think it's going to happen. And I told you he wants that fight next, and I want to see it.
Not going to happen next.
That fight will not happen next. No.
Well, it needs to happen this year because I think Lopez is going to have to be one way or another. He's telling us, or if you look at his size, he's going up in weight next year. So it has to happen this year.
There you go, everybody. Let's move on, shall we? This is one I was talking about earlier, actually. Callum Neal has jumped in on Adam Lee. He's talking about pay-per-view. Josh Warrington. Yeah, it wasn't that one, sorry, but we're getting close to it. Tyon Booth has been nominated by Brian King. Should a world champion boxer have a fat girlfriend, says Booth. This led me down a Tyon Booth rabbit hole. I don't think he's as stupid as people think, he isn't. This isn't just a standard troll. His videos are quite well put together. I think there's a few more brain cells in this guy than he would give it credit for.
Yeah, but his YouTube and Twitter accounts have been suspended, isn't it? So they're at that clever.
Twitter, I think. I don't think the YouTube has yet. Just a time bomb, innit?
Aye.
Sorry, Ozzy, do you want to jump in there?
No, I'm eating a packet of crisps, so you carry on.
What flavour? What flavour you got, Ozzy?
He's got the munchies for that 15 pint of Heineken.
I'm on McCoy's paprika crisp.
Nah, they're for pussies. Get the salt and vinegar ones out right now.
You're going to eat your fucking pork scratchings or something like that.
Pork scratchings?
Correct.
I eat scampi fries, you cheeky cunt.
Right, scampi fries then. Same thing.
If you're in the chat, everybody give us your favourite type of crisps. What flavour of crisps is your favourite here? Ozzy's got the paprika.
Pickled onion Monster Munch.
Monster Munch? There you go. Well, let's move on, shall we? Brian King has nominated Pull Up out now. Yo, Eddie Hearn, any updates on the purse bids for Wilder Tyson? I just want you to...
Can you say something? That fucking... Go and read that name of that tweet again.
Pull Up out now.
Aye, pull him out now. Right, okay. That's a fake account. Listen to it. Pull out right now. Aye, right, okay.
Aye, but it's at lethal something.
Aye, right.
There you go.
That's a good bit of fucking fraud, that one.
I'm not sure. He's got a blue tick, Andy.
Oh, right, okay. Must be important. Rob, tell us about that, mate.
Yeah, Rob's got a blue tick as well.
Aye.
There you go. I just want you to win so I can watch Frank's reaction on IFL TV. Sorry, go ahead, Rob.
That is to me. A lot of good that is to me. I got a blue check, but I got no check with it.
Would you recommend a blue tick, Rob?
I don't know, man. Just give them to major celebrities. What do I know?
Doesn't look like we're going to get one anytime soon. Oh, here we go. Tottenham Unboxing Talk has nominated Dan Reese Radcliffe. Warren 2 fights by brawling against brawlers. Barry Galahad will be unorthodox and elusive. He won't stand there waiting to be hit. Lee Selby and Carl Frampton are brawlers, apparently, who are brawling with Warrington. So there you go. Dan Reese Radcliffe has been nominated. Michael Benson was talking. Eddie Hearn declared that Callum Smith's first WBA super middleweight title defence could take place on a double header with Alexander Usyk in the US. Pucking Frick nominated Eddie because he said recently on one of these YouTube channels, the UK is our core market, says Eddie Hearn. Andy, here's one for you. Ericsson Lubin is ripped and ready for Ishay Smith. What on earth is going on? I can only just barely see the photo. It looks like he's covered in bubble wrap or something.
Exactly.
Cling film?
Yep. So, basically, what's happened here is, Bill of the Week, boxing scene, did an article with him, and he's talking about the Ishay Smith fight. You've basically got Ericsson Lubin flexing like he's been on like say like fucking so many steroids. He's cut to bits. He is laced in baby oil. Yet for the neck up, he's completely bone dry. It's just fucking odd looking actually. So I just thought, for fucking, it just looked awful. That's all I was going to say.
Just awful, says Andy. Cocaine Dawkins has nominated Oz Boxing for trying to tell the public that a $50 pay-per-view was appropriate. Cocaine wasn't happy. He got stuck in, but Oz Boxing nominated him. Simon has nominated Zorro. Pound for Pound King is Terence Crawford. No, second after Keith Thurman, apparently. He's second after Keith Thurman, according to Zorro. Keith Thurman's the best pound for pound fighter in the world, according to this gentleman. Not really sure about that one. Here's a good one, Andy. Danny Robson. Conor Benn is up to number 6. WBA watch. Embarrassing. Going up places. Gilberto, the kid hasn't even won an area level title yet. He's up to 6th in the world, everybody. Conor Benn.
You know what this means?
Josh Yellow Kelly is up to what?
7th.
Hasn't even fucking fought. He had shot the bed.
Conor Benn is eligible to fight for a final eliminator or a world, for a final eliminator for the WBA title.
Aged.
That says it all. And what can I say about this? Like, in my opinion, how this should be called out on this. What has Conor Benn done? He's somehow moved up. I think when we spoke on the pod last week, he was 9th or 10th. He's gone up to 6th. What has Conor Benn done, even to get any sort of ranking, top 25? I don't agree with, but fine if you fight for one of these shitty bogus belts. But Conor Benn, whose best win is a fucking French kickboxer who beat him first time round, he's ranked 6th in the world at welterweight with the WBA. How is that even possible? In my opinion, the WBA, they are the worst ranking sanctioning body in the world at the moment. They should not be recognised for ranking people such as who have not fought at area level. In my opinion, they have not fought at area level.
But Ozzy, how about this? So Anthony Higgins said, I wouldn't mind seeing Ben versus Leigh Aga be an absolute war.
A war? It'd be a fucking death central, for fuck's sake.
The guy get fucking arrested for attempted murder. He'd be there locked behind bars. Attempted murder of Conor Benn because he beat the shit out of him.
I mean, listen, his dad went into a war with Gerald McClelland, right? And he barely came out the back end of it, and I love his dad to fucking earth, by the way. I would fucking walk in the coals of fire for fucking his dad. But Conor Benn against Leigh Aga, my fuck. Jesus, no, man. Listen, Ben, as Ozzy says, he's not even proved that he's area level. Never mind fucking English, British, or European level. He's not to prove that he's even area level, for fuck's sake. We're talking about Leigh Aga. Oh, no. Easy to fear.
Nomination for the WBA.
This is the problem with these sort of sanctioning belts, is that how the hell is Conor Benn ranked 6th in the world? How? What is the
He was 9th last fucking month.
And this is what is any explanation beyond? I reckon I could name 30 fighters ahead of Conor Benn, in my opinion.
Go on then, go.
Amir Khan, Johnny Garton, Frankie Gavin, Paddy Gallagher, Bradley Skeet, Ryan Kelly, Darren Tetley, Tyrone Nurse, Johnny Coyle. I'd take Jez Smith. I would take Carlum Eubank. I would take who else are we over?
Kavalauskas.
14.
I'd take
Sammy Vargas. Jose Brona's fucking ranked
Sorry.
He's talking about British fighters, I think.
British fighters there as well. Gary Corcoran, I would take him out. Who else have you got there? Jack Rafferty, Anthony Tomlinson. I'd take Chris Congo, another one. Liam Taylor.
What are you doing well in 19?
Liam Taylor's set to be named as the British mandatory challenger at the British title belt. I'd take Jack Catterall at the weight below quite comfortably. Fucking hell, who else would I take there? I'm You know
Come
what
on,
I mean?
you're on 20. You're on 20.
I'm on 20. Right. Give me 1 second, and I'll name the rest of them now. I will take Joe Hughes, Robbie Davis Jr., O'Hara Davis, Terry Flanagan, Joe Hughes, Josh Taylor. Who else would I take? Tom Farrell, Samo Mason.
27.
Larry Ekwendo.
Larry Ekendeo.
28.
Sam Maxwell, Chris Jenkins.
22.
Tyrone McKenna.
23.
Robbie Davis Jr.
He already mentioned him.
O'Hara Davis.
He already...
O'Hara Davis. Surely.
Yeah, come on, quick. One more.
Samuel Mason. Samuel Mason.
Samuel Mason, Akeem Ennis-Brown, Jason Easton, Philip Bowles, Commonwealth, newly crowned Commonwealth champion.
Was he Ahmed? Someone says in the chat.
Liam Taylor.
Frankie Gavin.
Jason
Kirkland
Welborn.
Lang.
Kirkland
Lang.
Michael Nunn. What about Michael Nunn? He's out.
Henry Cooper in his current form.
Well done, lads. Right, let's move on quickly. Yeah, Prince Patel's. But what about our thief Daniel? He's super
no,
well.
I won't go that far. I'm on about levels here, and as much as Conor Ben's absolutely garbage, he's a level above the Dr. Hitman RT John. He won't be going around posing with UBO belts in Mercedes Manchester.
What about Tyon Booth?
Tyon Booth would fucking murder Conor Ben. Tyon Booth's not actually a bad fighter, being brutally honest.
No, he was
Tyon
decent.
Booth isn't that bad. He's better than his record suggests. Being not taking the piss, he's not actually that bad.
Right, let's move on, boys. That was a bit of fun. I hope you enjoyed that.
One final one though. I'll go just one from the chat. Youngest 7, Freddie Flintoff against Conor Ben.
That's ridiculous suggestion. He was a heavyweight.
But Freddie Flintoff, he had that potent jab, a jab that people feared. What can I say? Conor Ben, I can see him creeping around, hiding behind things already because he fears the Flintoff jab.
Right, yeah, it's only going to get crazy, everybody. Russell Bishop was in touch. He said, "This is a big shout." You're damn right it is, Russell. But Dillian White is starting to remind me of a modern-day Joe Frazier. Told you it was a big shout, but the more experience he gets, JG jumped in. But this isn't so stupid because Matty Gannon also said that Russell Bishop is in good company because Johnny Nelson only said last year, Dillian White does remind me of Joe Frazier in a way. He just wants to fight, so a knockout is certainly possible. So there we go, everybody. Andy, one for you. Gervonta Davis should be top 5 pound for pound. Who said that? Oh, was that Broner said that?
I was Bruno said that, mate. Aye, should be top 5 pound for pound.
There you go then.
What a fucking flange.
Let's not get in on him. Right, Brian King has nominated Anthony Fowler. Saturday night run done, 7 weeks to go. Difference between me and most fighters is I'm willing to sacrifice 12 weeks of my life for one night of glory. Roll on March the 30th.
He's never fought me, cunt. What the fuck's he talking about?
Fitzgerald better be ready for war. # team machine. And then he puts the little robot emoji. And Avni Yildirim is nowhere to be seen. Bellew of the week for that, if nothing else.
Let me just say this. Rio 2016. Thank you. Next.
Okay. Next. Well, I'll tell you what is next. Tabriz Akram was in touch. Through the medium of Brian King anyway. Anthony Crolla has earned his shot at Lomachenko. Simples, says Tabriz. Andy, as Balboa said, if he's got 2 hands and a heartbeat, he's got a chance. And Anthony Crolla has one hell of a chance.
I'm going to tell you this right now. Just when we're talking about WBA with Ben and Kelly getting promoted up so many places in the welterweight rankings, I'm subscribed to a few YouTube channels and a few Lomachenko interviews come up with English subtitles. Lomachenko basically came across a story. It was this: Commey, the guy that Commey fought last week, and him were signed contracts to fight Lomachenko next. Commey won. Commey broke his hand during that fight. That fight's now off.
Yes.
So now Lomachenko's going to fight. Crawler is pretty much done and dusted. However, according to Lomachenko, and I'm going to quote him right now. Give me a second here, actually, just to pull up his quotes. Because when they really mattered, if Commey had broke his hand or absolutely not, because according to Lomachenko, the fight would have happened, wouldn't have happened regardless, or it would get this right, it would have happened. However, he could not have guaranteed if he would have held on to the WBA title. Now, something's fucking well fucking smelling here. Now that I mentioned those comments, how the fuck does a guy like Lomachenko tell us that there's a good chance if he goes for a unification fight, he might lose the WBA title?
Andy, Dave Trix makes a good point, though. He said that Lomachenko could just fight Crawler and Comey on the same night.
Well, funny enough, Lomachenko said the same fucking thing. And
Yeah.
they laughed about it, just obviously jokingly and stuff like that. It's obviously never going to happen and stuff, but yeah, it's just, again, the politics side of the sport is just AIDS. You've got a guy who's wanting to unify divisions, want all the titles quickly, and it's just,
Well,
you can see it. Hearn has got his fucking juicy finger behind it, and Mendoza, who's on the train, business class, and fucking, I didn't really want to get into it because I get angry, but you can see the Hearn Mendoza relationship coming to the fucking front here.
Well, here, let me ask you, Ozzy, let me ask you this, because Editing King has actually preempted my next question. Do you think they'll try and put Crawler and Lomachenko on pay-per-view?
Oh, yes, of course. Yes.
It depends when they're going to run it, because you've got to think you've got Dillian White against Dominic Breazeale or Alexander Povetkin in April. You've got Anthony Joshua, Jarrell Miller in May, June. It depends when they're looking to run it. I can't see it personally. However, nothing surprising me with Scott. What's the proposed date for Amir Khan against Terence Crawford? Or what's the date? I'm not good at it to hand.
April the 20th, is it?
Right, so that's out the window. I was going to say they might try and marry it up with, a Crawler, Lomachenko, Khan, Crawford, like double whammy pay-per-view. I don't see it happening on pay-per-view, and I think Eddie Hearn will try and spin it as you've got one of the Pamperfan greats on, all part of your Sky subscription, in my opinion, anyway. But just going on that about Richard Comey, I don't think Comey will beat Lomachenko, but I do think he'll cause some problems early on. Don't think he'll win, but I do think he'll cause some problems. Comey's no mugger. I do rate him as well.
I don't think the fight will ever happen. I don't think Lomachenko will fight Comey. Now that he's injured.
Well, yeah, quite possibly. Comey would need to come back, but literally be fit from Crawler or just before it, and then he can get in straight away. But in my opinion, I genuinely believe that I think Lomachenko would win, but Comey would cause problems.
He's a big lad, Comey. He can punch as well. Anyway, Adrian Broner, talking to big lads. He's got nominated by Darren Neal. I'd love to fight in my city, says Broner, but I want to go get some of that UK money. I want them to pay me in euros, he says. Exchange rate comments from Broner here. Getting on the belly of the week. Martin Hurry, Andy.
Brexit. Educate on Brexit.
Brexit.
He's going to come over here. Fuck him.
Broner Brexit.
I want to know who's going to pay Adrian Broner in euros, considering England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales will not pay him that. So good luck to him.
He's just talking shite, isn't he? Right, Sam Halsey has been nominated by a few people, including Martin Hurry. Unpopular opinion, says Sam. It might not be, Sam, you never know. But I genuinely believe Anthony Crawler is the man to beat Lomachenko. Yeah, all right then, Sam. Well, here's an interesting one. Michael Hode has jumped in. He said, if Crawler lands more than 10 punches on Lomachenko, then I will suck a horse off.
Stretch match running about those mouths straight away. Fucking hell.
There you go, Michael Hode, friend of the pod. Is there any way we can hold him to this? I'm praying for Crawler to get stuck in, man. And lay some hurt on Lomachenko, because Michael Hode has laid down the gauntlet.
Oh, fuck, Steve, you're funny as fuck, man. Jesus Christ. Can we hold him with this?
Oh, dear. Anyway, Sam has not... I'm getting to the end of them, everybody. I know it's 10:30. Sam has nominated... who's he nominated? All Things Boxing through the medium of Brandon Mitchell. After Frank Warren said Warrington Galahad is only pay-per-view alongside another big fight, how about Carl Frampton versus Lee Selby as chief support? Maybe Liam Williams and Johnny Garton defending their titles as well, plus Nathan Gorman for good measure. Any chance, Frank? Says All Things Boxing. So Brandon Mitchell picks up on a point I mentioned earlier. All for big fights being made, but why the hell would you be asking for it to be put on pay-per-view? Weirdo. And Sam has obviously nominated this one as well. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense.
What I was going to say, though, that's not actually a bad card, that.
I know.
From what
But
he
you
said,
see the point, though, Ozzy? Why they're trying to create
yeah.
pay-per-views?
Yeah, I was going to say it. But the thing is, though, that is the boxing fan of today. It's anything that is reasonable, they call for it on pay-per-view, things like that. But the card itself would be excellent. But I just want to applaud BT. Like I know I always come across as, like this Frank Warren like fan or anything, but the fact is it would be easy to put Josh Warrington against Kid Galahad on pay-per-view now. It would be easy to do that. But I'm pleased to see that they are not putting it on pay-per-view. And it shows that, look, the purses were revealed. What was it? 1.5 million across 2 purses. Plus you've got a supporting undercard. I'm pleased to see that sort of fight, which could easily be put on pay-per-view in this day and age, is only part of a subscription, which is good to see. And that is what boxing fans should be treated to. Not even a treat. It should just be part of a normal package, and that is the good thing to see.
Final one, Darren Neal says, Twitter's on fire today. That was earlier. James Flood says, Usyk, pound for pound. No, you need to understand the term pound for pound first, then come back at me, says James Flood. Yeah. I don't know what his criteria is for pound anyway. Yeah, I've had a few good ones, Andy, haven't we? That's all the ones that I have. Any for you to add in?
No, I don't think I've got anything else to add, I don't think.
Gabe's left us. You've thrown in a few, haven't you, Andy? I'm thinking the WBA maybe front runners for this whole Conor Benn.
Yeah, obviously. To be Conor Benn 6, Josh Kelly for ducking fights and then honouring the rematch. Absolutely, without question, WBA.
Any nominations from you, Mr. Lowback? Have you sobered up yet?
Mr.
Dave?
Slowback. You drinking a boiler gin, baby?
Oh, is he? I'll have to bring him in.
I'm a gorilla. I'm a dog. I'm a dog. I'm a gorilla. I talk the most shit.
Disappeared. Ozzy, any from you?
I want to nominate Floyd Mayweather's wellies or boots or whatever you want.
Oh, aye! You look like he fucking belong in the Esquire contest, didn't he? Going a bit like a fucking fiend.
I mean,
I bet they cost about 20 grand to
I was going to say, yeah.
Oh, the wellies, yeah.
Just for the animosity for it.
Cheap wellies. So I mean, I'd just love to ask him and go, literally go, what the fuck are you wearing on your feet? They're horrendous.
No, I wouldn't.
Horrendous.
That way, I would ask him this simple question: Floyd, why?
Yeah.
What's worse, Floyd's shoes or Dave Allen coming in the carry-on?
It's like that. If you ever met Floyd, I'd be like that old waiter who met George Best in the hotel room with fucking Miss World, who says, "George, what happened? Where did it all go wrong?" That's what I say to Floyd. Floyd, fuck man. My wife says the same thing. My wife's one of these libertarian type fucking people, by the way. The amount of money he spunked on absolute fucking shite. Think about the amount of people he could have fucking dragged up from fucking poverty and helped, educated, clothed, fed, watered. Could even fucking maybe even bought fucking nations and fucking rose it up to make it a first world country. Who does he do? Aye, I'll go and get a private jet and go watch the Lakers fucking literally like 50 miles from my fucking doorstep. Oh, aye, but I'll get a private plane to go and date for me. What a fucking fud.
And he's been on rare form there because I missed him last week. He had some ad that looked like it was Fire Festival where he was like, do you want to live like Floyd Mayweather? Yeah. Do you want to get money? Do you want to get women? Well, sign up to this gambling site.
I was just disappointed not to see him have his what is it, like some sort of trilby or
he had one.
Trilby
he has a green one now to go with the wellies, and he looked like a little leprechaun in the hood at the press conference. And he said he said I was a bit disappointed because he had 2 interviews this week. One in the build up for in the press conference for Javonta's fight, and another one, some bizarre interview with Kevin Hart, where the two of them take an ice bath together. And it was weird, but he got to smart investments only late in both interviews, so he's changing up the narrative a little bit. But he did manage to slip in, and he made smart investments. And when he started off the Gervonta press conference, he said, "It's great to be here today on this platform. You know, when I first started as a professional 21 years ago, you just talked about yourself for like 15 minutes.
That old
Yeah.
cliche pish.
Yeah, just did and like a 15-minute speech about himself, and then like we got to Gervonta. Like, so yeah, Floyd, he's on one at the moment.
Wilder was correct about him, wasn't he? Wilder always says that Floyd doesn't like the give credit to any other fighter apart from himself. Proof is in the pudding again.
Yeah, I noticed Marty in the chat talking about the book Money, the Floyd book. I think maybe Tris Dixon's book. I've read that. It's actually pretty good. Marty, give it a chance. Yeah, WBA. Anthony Higgins is a front runner as well. Rob, who are you going for this week?
Oh, Trish Dixon, by the way, for complaining about people about the upsurge podcasts recently. Can I just say something, by the way? Who was the recent person to bring a podcast out? Trish Dixon. Trish Dixon was getting tagged and being educated on this podcast's greatest award ceremony and stuff like that. Could they say something, by the way? See, this podcast has been on the go. How long now, Steve? 6 years? 7? 8 years?
Yeah, 2012, I think.
We were looking to fill the gap by other podcasts and stuff like that. And I agree, there's been an absolute increase in podcasts, but quality, quantity, what was your take? I listened to at least 3 podcasts relating to boxing each week. One's are ours, Tail of the Tape, and probably I actually listened to Bunce and Costello. So only 3 boxing podcasts that I listen to. Anything else I go on Twitter and stuff like that. So what else can I say?
You know, Andy, do you know how many videos there are? Do you know how many videos are on the YouTube channel now for the station? 443.
How many?
443.
There you go. Says it all.
Andy, I just want to ask you a question in as well. Considering there is no money being put behind our podcast, what is our listenership at the moment?
20,000 plus.
Exactly.
Across platforms, yes, 20,000.
So considering we put 0 pence, dollars, euros behind this channel, we are at 20,000 listeners plus, week in, week out.
Does anybody listen to the Steve Kim? Steve Kim used to do one with Mario Lopez. Is that still going?
No, it still goes. I actually used to listen to him with Gabriel Montoya, because Montoya was good at getting Victor Conte in, and he has got knowledge in the drug situation and stuff like that. But I think they've had a bit of a falling out. Kim is, I hate Kim.
Little weasel.
Kim is he's a fucking rodent. He's a snake. You know, obviously he's got knowledge of situations and stuff like he's got contacts and that, but he's still a sleazy, slimy little fucker. I mean, end of the day as well, he blocked me for saying, you've got an agenda. You have got an agenda, you wee cunt, right? You slag and shit on Al Heyman constantly, regardless of how good his fights are or whatever and stuff like that, or his shows or what he does or what he doesn't do. You fucking hate him. But by the way, if Tom Loffer pulls his schlong out, you're slipper on the bitch.
Let us know in the chat what podcast you listen to.
I listen. Guy Kenny Keefe and Vince Cummins I listen to on Tail of the Tape. They back us, we back them.
Right. And Kim, Oscar as well. Oscar, him and Mario. Mario had some kind of love affair going on with Oscar, like. And he blocked me as well for saying that he had an agenda. And then he had some slick shit to say afterwards when I couldn't see it. But I hope I see Steve Kim someday. Just to have a word with him.
Me too.
If he's walking through the streets of Wexford.
Any Kim can get it.
Yeah, any
Kim Jong-un, Steve Kim, call me the Kim man. Any Kim can get it.
The guy who racially refers to himself as a slanty-eyed man. Aye. And then he'll fucking complain about racism. Some other fucking bastard calls him back, eh?
I noticed on the chat they're talking. Fight Talk was mentioned. Fight Disciples, yeah. New Age. I do listen to New Age as well. What else have we got? Boxing Gossip they were mentioning. They've disappeared. He done a whole video slating the Eddie interview that we did. I know I wasn't on it, but he seems to have disappeared as well. Roper Dope Radio, somebody's saying. What about On the Grind? The one that used to last for about 5 hours. Is that still
going? No, I stopped years ago, mate. I used to listen to that every Monday, and that I've called in a few times to that show as well, mostly American. Paddy Cronin was on it as well.
They had me on it. I interviewed B-Hop on it.
I was on there one night. The Pacquiao Mayweather announcement. Actually, I called in and they had me on for a good while, and I actually did some shows with Nino Chelik on the heavyweight show. So I like Nino as well. So I'm friends with him on Facebook. Have a chat with him back.
I listen to the boxing
as well.
I listen to the boxing coalition as well with Cam. He's a good lad. They're good guys over there. So go
Are they
and
still
give them
going,
a
eh?
listen. Yeah, I don't think they do every week now, but they do every month or so. They're good
Right.
guys. Go and give them a listen.
What's that one with Max Branning off EastEnders called?
Is that the Spencer Oliver one? That's the pound cast.
Pound
Pound for pound. That's the story.
The half pound podcast.
I don't listen to that at all.
The half pound podcast.
Value of the week from Max Brannon, by the way. He got locked in a caravan this week. It was on Twitter. Some fellow with him was trying to kick the door off the caravan, but couldn't kick snow off the rope. And the door still didn't open. I don't know what they were doing. Like Max Brannon just in a caravan, and man tried to kick his way out of it. It looked like an episode of Peep Show or something. I don't know what the fuck was going on.
Right, I'm gonna have to frigging wrap this shit up on it. I haven't even had a drink either. What is it? 22:11. Right, what are we on, Andy? Are we on Value of the Week still?
I think so, mate. Listen, I'm actually just. I need to get my bottle. I need to get another drink here. Actually, this is what's happening. So, who's getting my vote? WBA for me.
WBA for you, right, Ozzy? Who are you going for?
WBA, 100%.
What about you, Rob?
Yeah, I'll go with that. Like, although.
Can I have a quick mention for Floyd Mayweather's 20 gram wellies?
Yeah, the wellies were good. Like.
Yeah, that's a top second, like that one.
Dave, you back with us or what? Dave
the hater, get off the Jamesons, get off that Catholic whiskey, get on the Bushmills, the Protestant stuff.
He's passed out.
You in?
I'm on the Balvenie Caribbean cask 14-year-old, the best 14-year-old I've tasted since I was 16.
You're on the proper 12. Don't be lying.
Oh, proper 12. I'm still to taste that and I'm going to taste it at some point. I will.
I heard it's woeful.
So have I, but I've seen people saying, "Oh, it's amazing, baby." So who knows? It's a blend. It's Irish blend, for fuck's sake. There's not an Irish whiskey worth fucking drinking. That's including Bushmills as a Protestant, by the way.
I've had a message coming on Patreon from Tomo, but I can't bring it up. Tomo, sorry, I don't know what's going on my phone, so I'll ask it next week. Any questions that we haven't asked, I'll ask them next week. Right, boys, let's finish up, shall we? Thanks to everybody who's jumped on. We've had a good laugh tonight. Thanks to everybody in the chat as well. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as we had. It's been good crack. Rob, thank you for coming on as always. Ozzy, good to hear from you. Andy Patterson, Dave the Hater Lowback, don't know where he's gone, but thanks to him. Gabe left us a little bit earlier, and we had two guests on right at the top of the hour, top of the show. We had at 8 o'clock Robbie Chapman, and at 8:30 we had Brad Foster. Good luck to him in his British title challenge in a few weeks' time. We'll catch you all again next week, everybody. Thank you very much for listening. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up and hit the subscribe button wherever you are, iTunes, YouTube, whatever. Hit the subscribe button and join us in the revolution. We're going to take over the world. I've been Steve Wellings. Bye.